Alright, welcome to the ActRaiser Any Percent tutorial. This tutorial will be covering the simulation and platforming part of the game. We will not be covering professional mode. Professional mode is the platforming part only. It is a little more difficult and has a couple of nuances that are different from the rest of the regular game. I might do the tutorial of that at a future date, but for today we're just going to cover the regular game. A couple things I want to note before we go into this. There are three versions of this game. There's the North American, there's the European or PAL, and the Japanese version of the game. All three versions of this game are different. The North American, Japanese, and European versions all operate differently. It's not just the text that differs, but it's the actual game mechanics as well. In the Japanese version, there's even some level design differences. Simulation mechanics operate differently. So for this game, you can't just pick up the Japanese version because there's less text to go through. It doesn't work that way. It's a different game. So it's not like, take Super Mario 64, for example, where people use the Japanese version because there's less text, so it saves time. That may be true in the Japanese version of this game, but it's a different game, so that doesn't apply here. So keep that in mind when you're considering speedrunning this. Japanese version is actually pretty hard. If you want a challenge and you've played through this game before, I recommend it. But we're covering the English version of this game. So that's what we'll be going through. A couple notes though. There's that, and if you have not read the Admiral's Max Population Guide out on GameFAQs.com, I strongly recommend you go and read that before start looking through this tutorial. The reason is, I want you to understand a lot of the simulation mechanics that go on in this game. I'm not looking for you to know how to maximize the population, although that would be nice if you knew that, but I'm more looking that you understand how the simulation mechanics in the game work. Things like, how does my score affect my total population in my simulation mode? From the platforming mode, what is a soul counter? How do souls work? How do they move around? How does the building work? So forth and so on. There's a lot of nuances here that the Maximum Population Guide outlines at all. So I expect you having a basic understanding of that, at least going into this tutorial. So that's it. We'll go and get started. And we're apparently going to professional mode because I like to hit buttons. So we'll reset. I'll talk about the timing briefly. So regardless of what you're running in this game, all games will stop the timing when you lose control of your avatar after defeating Tanzra after the final boss rush. Now, where they start depends on professional versus any percent. If you're doing professional, for SRL timing, it starts, and I think SDA timing, well, the SDA timing is probably different. So SRL timing will start either when you select your name in any percent, like we're about to do here, or when you basically start the game for professional mode. SDA timing works a little differently. I have to double check this for professional, but what I know for any percent is the timer for SDA timing, which is what's used on speedrun.com. The timing for SDA starts when you first gain control at the first menu going into the game. For professional mode, I think the timing starts when you gain control of the avatar in Filmore Act 1. I have to go double check that, so don't take me for verbatim if you're watching this and I find out later I'm wrong. But that's how the timing works. So what I do personally, since I just bother keeping SDA timing, is I'll put my name in here and I'll have my counter set to a negative value. So I think mine is set to minus 13.27 seconds. It's just what I empirically looked at. Like, I just ran it and see how long it takes me to master the text and about when the menu came up, and I recorded it and how long it took and just put that in there. So, a thing about the name, your name will be used, whatever you put in here will be used throughout the entire rest of the part of the game. Typically in games you want to name things as few characters as possible because it's text. It takes a while to draw on the screen, and that costs frames, costs time. For this, we don't really care. It's going to use your name. It's going to use your name here, and I think one time on the menu, maybe. I have to go check to be sure. But once we set the text speed to the fastest it can be, all the text just pops up instantaneously. It doesn't matter how short or long your name is after that fact. So for this, it doesn't matter. It might cost you 2 or 4 frames. At the end of the day, if you're willing to, put that for your name, then that's fine. I don't even think we'll see here. As you see your name used once here. It's basically right there. It's used once here, but the timer hasn't officially started yet. So, for SDA timing, so we go through here, and I'm pretty sure it doesn't use your name before you switch your menu speed. So you go through this text. The first thing you do, now when you get here, this is where the timer starts. The very first thing you do is you go all the way bottom here, go to message speed. So yes, it does use your name once, right here. So that costs, I don't know how many frames that costs, but it might cost 2 frames for each character, so I'm losing 8 frames here. That's okay with me, honestly. To have my name on the run like that, that's okay. Losing 8 frames just because of text, that doesn't bother me. I'll deal with it, So when you do that, you come down here, you go to the message speed, you go and push it all the way to the left to 0, to fast, hit A, or B rather, and they'll be like this for the rest of the run. If you forget this, you're going to be in a world of hurt when you get to simulation, because you'll be losing a lot of time waiting for text to draw. So don't forget to do this when you start your runs. I imagine the first time you do forget it, you'll probably convince yourself, we're not doing that again. So again, when you come in here, when the menu pops up, first thing you do, go all the way bottom, set your message speed all the way to 0, put it all the way to the left, and then you go back up to fight. Go and push right once, fight monsters, and just spam through the text. There is value in spamming through text boxes in this game because I think it will literally do it as fast as you possibly can push the button. Let me get rid of that. So as long as you can mash as fast as you can, and you'll get those menus through as faster. You have to be careful though, because sometimes that will get you in trouble. If you mash fast enough, you'll mash through text boxes and then open up your menu, and you didn't want to do that, so you end up losing time because of that. So you have to kind of be wary of mashing through text as fast as you can. So now there's something here I want to demonstrate. One mechanic off the bat that's pretty important, and if you're going to start speedrunning this, I recommend learning to do this. It's not hard. This is kind of like I know a lot of people watching me play Super Metroid. It's kind of analogous to ledge grabbing in Super Metroid, only it's even easier than that. It's basically what happens is if I just jump normally, you can see where I land. I'm going to draw a line here where I land. Alright, so if I do a slash jump, so basically when I hit the peak of right before I hit the peak of my jump, I'm doing a slash in midair, and that's going to extend the height and the length of my jump, so I will be able to jump further. So if you compare the line to where I jumped without that versus to where I jumped with, we'd basically jumped a whole nother character's distance. And so that's something to keep in close consideration when you're jumping. And we'll be using that regularly throughout the run, and it definitely can help you save a lot of time in a lot of places in the platforming section. So with that in mind, let's go load. And I'll show you the basic playthrough of this stage. The basic goal is you just want to keep moving. If you don't have to kill a monster, you don't bother. I'll go through and outline everything that I'm doing here after I let you see the stage. You can break these items before you land, so you can slash as you're landing, so you don't have to worry about losing time to slash it. And this is a pretty decent stage, except for one spot. And there's always going to be a boss at the end of every stage, even if you've never played this game before. Most of the time, the bosses aren't really of much concern. So, let me go through that again, and we don't have sound this time because I loaded the save state too quickly because of Game Saver, but that's fine. So we'll go through this, and I'll kind of outline what I'm doing here. So going over, I just jump over these guys. You don't need to jump slash for that, but it helps. For this next part, I jump over that guy. For this next part, on this corner, I make sure to jump off the very edge of this platform. Because if you jump off the very edge, you'll land right between these two guys, and then you can jump off the second one. Another thing about the mechanics, when you're in air and you jump forward, when you're jumping forward, you can hit back, and it'll stop your forward momentum, but you'll still be falling. So that's pretty important in a number of places. You can avoid getting hit and losing time, and that's what I'm going to do right up here. As I'm jumping here, I hit back to avoid getting hit by that bee, fall down, and then jump up here anyway. You can just avoid that guy if you go straight here. Slash him in the air. As you're coming down from your third slash, you can start moving forward. Saves a little bit of time that way. Jump on a log. This section right here, you can clear this with a regular jump, I believe, but it's harder. So if you're like early, like right here, you'll miss it. It makes it easier if you learn how to jump slash across there. You can make it with a regular one, but it certainly does make it easier to deal with. Again, when you land, you can slash as you're landing, and so you don't lose any time when you land, other than the normal time you lose from landing. So keep that in mind when you're killing enemies, when you're revealing items like that apple we just had, that you can slash as you right before you land, and you basically don't lose time, but still hit whatever you're aiming for. From here, I don't try to jump right off the edge. This is a tricky jump, and depending on where you jump will depend on what happens next. So we'll save here real quick. But if you jump off the very edge of this, you'll land on the top of this tree, which isn't a big deal. So let me try to do that again. If you land right on top of the tree, you just basically, you let yourself get hit by that bee. And I didn't do it there. Let me do it again. I can't do it anymore. Well, basically, there we go, we got it. So you just let yourself get hit by that bee, and then you run and jump off the tree, and you can go on as normal. If you jump early enough, you'll miss the top of the tree, and you'll miss these spikes down here, and you can just keep going. Then you jump up on this stump next, and then you can jump far enough to land on the left hand, then the right hand, and then you can land right between here. Keep going. Now, when we come up to the boss, there's a certain technique. I don't know if anyone has a name for it, but it's like a triple slash going on. So I'll show it to you once I get past this part here. So I'll save here. When you're coming up on this boss, and if I can remember to do it correctly. I think I'm not going to be able to get it because of the way the save state's working. Because it loads with respect to... the funny thing is the boss fight starts with respect to the game music, and it's because my game music is different. I get less time to actually get hits on him. But to show you how it works, basically, is you slash, land, and you're like holding down immediately, and you do a slash, and then you can do another slash after that. It's landing as you do the slash, and do another slash as you hit the ground is a quick way to get 2 slashes off. Then you can follow up quickly with a third one, and you can usually hit him 3 times before he starts his boss animation, before he starts moving around. Let me see if I can go ahead and die to him and see if I can get that to work. Because I want to see if I get that music back. The nice thing about dying in this game is it's pretty inconsequential. Your life counter only applies to the current act you're in. Alright, let's see if we can do this. Yeah, see, I got 3 hits off. Now what I do is I damage boosted backwards into this guy to go through him. You don't take damage when you're having vulnerability frames on, just like most other games. So when you get hit by something, you want to basically turn in the opposite direction. So what happens is I come up to him and I wait for him to joust, and I immediately turn around so I get damage boosted backwards. So I can walk through him quickly, get on the other side, And getting behind him stops his joust immediately, so you can just work on doing all the damage to him, and it's quicker that way. And that's the basic strat. It's a really easy fight. It's hard to die unless you just don't have much health going into that boss fight. And that is Filmore Act 1 in a nutshell. I've probably gone over a lot so far, but it's about to get worse. Because now we're getting into the simulation part. So this tutorial is probably going to be very front-loaded, and after a while, it's going to become me repeating a lot of different things. So we're going to make a save state there, and we're going to stop here for a second. Simulation, again, this is a lot of simulation mechanics is going to become from you reading that population guide, because there's a lot that goes on with simulation mechanics that it's more complicated than you might think at first. To go over what happens is there is a soul count for your town that starts at 2 technically when you start the town, but the 2 people always reside in the town hall there that we're over the top of. It starts at 2. For every monster that you kill, 1 soul is added to your total soul counter. So that you have to kill multiple layers or multiple monsters to actually be able to build outwards. When you start every zone, your housing will start at level 1, meaning that there are 3 levels of housing in this game per zone. Level 1, level 2, level 3. A level 1 house has 4 people in it, a level 2 house has 6 people in it, and a level 3 house has 8 people in it. How do you increase the housing levels? There are specific layers in every zone. It's not random, they're set specifically in every zone that when you seal that layer, it will increase your civilization level and it will go up. So the only 2 of the layers in every zone will be set like that. So when you seal it, it'll go from 1 to 2 or it'll go from 2 to 3. And so you ideally want to get to those layers as soon as possible. But usually what we do is we go for what's nearest to us first. A lot of the crisis comes in the very beginning of every simulation act. You're trying to scramble to kill as many monsters as you possibly can very early on so you can maximize how many people you're putting out and you're building out at one time. Because remember, to build a house, you have to have 4 people, at least in your soul counter, available to build out with. So if you want to build multiple houses, you have to have whatever that multiple is to do it. So you have to be killing a lot of monsters between every construction cycle. So when we do this, when we're building out, we will typically want to build in at least 2 directions at once. There are a couple zones we're building in 3 directions at once. Excuse me. That's not very common, and it's really hard to do that anyway. Building 2 directions at once with limited population in your soul counter can be really difficult. Something I did forget to mention, that when you seal a layer, so a lot of the population mechanics, every layer has a set number of monsters in it. So you can actually keep killing the monsters in the layers, and eventually they'll run out of monsters to spawn. It's not infinite. So when you seal a layer, the entire count of how many monsters are left in that layer will go towards your total soul counter, and you'll start to build with that. So it's your goal to seal your first layer as fast as you possibly can, because then that will basically maximize how much population you're putting out per turn. Because usually there's at least 200 monsters in every layer. Well, I don't know if it's 200. There's a lot of monsters in every layer. It's more than you can use before you're going to seal your next one. So that's usually the goal, is you want to seal your first layer as fast as possible so you don't have to worry about scrambling around trying to kill as many monsters, so you can continue building 2 directions at once. That's your goal. Now, another nuance, which really isn't relevant to any percent, it would be relevant to like a maximum population run or a 100% run. I'll talk about that later because there's confusion about that. But anyway, the score that you get in your platforming section, so the score that you get in Act 1 and Act 2, contribute directly to your total maximum population. For Act 1, it takes your score, and I can't remember the divisor currently right now, but it takes your score and applies it to all the existing monster lairs. So the higher the score that you have in Act 1, the more monsters are going to be in each single lair. Okay. Now, in Act 2, after all the monster lairs are sealed, what happens is basically your population maximum increases from there based on your score from Act 2. And so, not really that relevant to an any percent run, since we're not really looking to maximize our population. We're looking at just enough to get by, but that's still something worth knowing. So all that being said, what do we go from here? So building in two directions can be a little tricky, and I'm going to demonstrate this to you. If you don't know how the simulation mechanic works for how you build, let me show it to you really quickly. So first of all, we're going to get these trees out of the way. So whatever this radical is on, you have to be sitting on top of it. So that's something else to remember in your speed run, is if you want to tell people where to move, you need to make sure that you're sitting on top of this radical. So that way you're right on top of it when you start building in the direction that you want to. If you are not on top of it, like you're way over here and you want to move your people, it's going to move you over there. So you want to make sure that you're on top of it before you start moving it. Alright, so now I'm going to demonstrate what happens. We just passed a building cycle. I'm going to kill a couple monsters here to get started. So let's say, okay, let's build in two directions. So usually when I build in two directions, I basically say, build a road here, come back, then build a road here. Now, their primary direction is down. That is where most of the people will go. In your early building stages, this is not going to work. Later on, when you have enough population in your soul counter, when you have enough souls in your soul counter is how I should say it. When you have enough souls in your soul counter, you don't have to worry about this so much, but in the early stages, you have to worry about how you build in two directions at once. So just by doing this, what's going to happen here is I'm only going to get one house. I'm actually going to probably get two houses down here and a wheat field. And they're not going to be building in this direction. And so you're like, what the heck? I told you, you built a road over there. Why didn't you build any houses over here? This is where it starts to get tricky. So the way that I've found around this, and I'm going to load the save state here. Also, if you're using GameSaver to practice this will happen when you load your save state. All you have to do is load it again and it'll fix that. Okay. So it like loads it in a paused format, so it's triggering a pause or something. So if you load it again, it unpause it. So I don't know. It's something like that. I've never figured out what mechanic that is that does that. But you can just load it again and it'll work just fine. So what we do in this case is I want to go up to the top left here to seal that layer. And since that's going to be the closest layer for me to seal, since again, I want to get my soul counter as full as possible in order to not have to worry about scrambling around killing monsters in order to have the maximum output for every construction cycle. So I'm going to go through and what's going to happen here, and this is going to happen kind of fast, I'm going to do a couple things here. I'm going to immediately move down. I'm going to destroy the trees. I'm going to move up to the top left, kill the bat, move over almost to the top right, shoot in the distance and kill the bat almost off screen. And then I'm going to move back down over the town hall, kill the bat from the bottom that's coming up. And then I'm going to move my radical, it's going to be up, down, up from those directions from the town hall. And all that will happen very quickly. And if I kill monsters correctly on the next construction cycle, I will build in both directions at once. So after I do the up, down, up, I'm going to go back up and kill the bats on the top and the right side. And there's a certain pattern that I have to kill them as fast as possible. And you'll see that one pattern lines up with the mountains, and another pattern lines up with the trees for how I decide to shoot my arrows. And that's kind of visual cues for how I know to shoot, even though I can't see the bat on screen. So let's see how this works. Of course, you have to go through this first. Okay, so I kind of screwed that up, so I'm going to do it again, just to show the opening. Alright, so that's how that works. And I actually want to do... So we're going to go over here, kill that bat. And line up with the mountains, line up the trees, line up the mountains, kill this one, line up with the trees, line up the mountains. And this is just a quick way to kill bats over and over. So if you do this right, you build in 2 directions at once. So I actually did like 4 times there. But it still worked just like at the 3. So that's the basic pattern that I always try to open with. It takes a little bit of practice to get that down, but it's not too hard. Once you get a better feel for the mechanics of the game. Then they're always going to have something unexpected to say to you. Just get used to it. So. Hey, Axel. Thank you. So, what do I need to mention to you guys next? I had something in mind while I was covering it. Oh yeah, miracles and construction cycles and all that. Hey, I'm glad, Rainy. So you have the global timer. Your global timer is up here. It's a little hourglass. That's something worth paying attention to. This is global, meaning that if I leave here with just 1 sand left in the hourglass and go to a different zone, I'm going to have 1 sand left over there. This timer is going to be global regardless of where you go, and that's important, especially when you move from one zone to the new one. So there's construction cycles that happen every time the hourglass is done ticking. There are things that make this not tick. Anytime you're going through your menus, anytime that you're talking to the people, that you're clicking through these text menus, the hourglass is not ticking. Anytime that an animation for a miracle is going on, or any other animation going on, for example in Bloodpool when you banish the red demon lair, anytime like that, that is also not ticking. So you can literally continuously do miracles over and over, basically until you run out of skill points, and that timer will rarely ever move forward as long as you do it correctly. You'll see places like Candora and Northwall where I'm just doing miracle after miracle after miracle. In Candora, I'll be making it rain a lot. In Northwall, I'll be using the sun to melt the snow a lot. Sometimes I'll melt all the snow that I need to in Northwall before even moving on, before the first construction cycle even happens in Northwall. So those are things to keep in mind, that these are the things that stop the timers, your menuing, your text, and your animations, miracles, etc. That will stop the timer. This is very important to you when you're trying to kill monsters. So when you go to a new zone, and we'll be doing this a little bit in Bloodpool, but we'll be doing it especially in Candora. That is a good time to farm your monsters so you can get your soul counter up. Now, monsters won't spawn while a miracle is going, but you can kill them. So what can happen is you trigger a miracle, kill as many monsters as you can, let them spawn, which doesn't take long after the miracle's done, then start your next miracle, and then go kill them, wash, rinse, repeat, all doing this so that the timer moves as little as possible, but you're maximizing how many souls you're putting into your soul counter. So that's a tactic to keep in mind as you're going through the speedrun, and to use everywhere. Alright, so from here, they have things to tell me. They want us telling you to lead them to the monster lairs. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move up, and then I'm going to move down again. Now this time, oh gosh, I can't even remember what I'm doing right now. Hang on. Pretty sure I move up. Yeah, then I move down. And then I don't move up again. I'm pretty sure. We'll check it. It's for some reason I'm kind of having a block right now. Let me play through this. So yeah, I think I did that incorrectly. I think, yeah, I need to go up, or I go down. Dude, I can't remember right now. That's dumb. All right, so let's do this again. I may just kind of go with the flow here for a second to do it. I didn't. Destroy these trees. Don't move too far over. And also, if you get hit in this game, it's not a big deal. You regenerate health at construction cycles. Alright, so now I remember what I do. So what I do is I go up here, and I come down, build a road there, come back, build a road. I wait for it, then come back down here, kill some monsters, wait for it, and then I'm going to end right here. And we're going to let it go from there and just go back into a holding pattern of killing monsters. We'll build in two directions at once, so you got one house going down here. Or you don't. I'm remembering this wrong for some reason. I don't know why right now. Let me look at something. Alright, I know I'm doing wrong. Sorry. Okay. Now I'm in the process of explaining everything. I've completely forgotten how I play this game, so. Do that. Go up here, kill this guy. Kill that guy. Wait for the guy. Come up here. Move. So we go up, down, up. Then go back to killing the bats. Alright. Now, from here, I think I go immediately down. So you build this road down here. And then that'll go up there. And you can continue that so it'll go right on the bat lair. And you just continue killing bats. Because that's all you seem to do in this game is kill bats. Am I not remembering this correctly? Because I should be building down here. Hold the phone. Alright, hang on. I need to look this up because I can't remember. So I want to show you guys what I've done. How I normally do it. But for some reason, I'm having a brain fart right now, so let me look it up real quick. No, my PB video doesn't even show it. That's funny. Okay, because in my PB video I didn't kill enough monsters to build in both directions on the first phase. So let me try to figure this out real quick. Yeah, J-Ro. Alright, do this again. up, down, up. Or is it down, up, down? That might be the problem I'm having. I think it's down, up, down. I think that's where I'm losing it. The dream has died and you're sad. What's the dream and why did it die? Alright, so let's do this. Do that. Yes, this feels better. Okay. So down, up, down. Alright, we'll take it for the sake of the tutorial. So then you build down, then you build all the way up, and you end right there, and that should cause it to build in 2 directions at once. I want to iterate through this one more time to make sure that's the case. So for the record, simulation in Filmore and Bloodpool are the hardest to do starting off. The rest of them aren't so bad, but it's very taxing in Filmore and Bloodpool when you get started. So if it seems like this is pretty complicated, it is for starting off trying to do this efficiently. Now I want to caveat that with this the whole time. At the end of the day, if you screw up one of these cycles, you know, it's not like the run's going to be over. So that's the nice thing about this run, is that even if you like, shoot, I didn't kill enough monsters to build, you know, get 2 buildings out on the first cycle, it's not a big deal. You're going to lose a little bit of time. But at the end of the day, it's not the end of your run. It's just something that you can work on improving in your next run. So it's not like a deal breaker or anything so that's going to end your run, which is a nice thing. This is a very low stress run in worrying about it ending. There's really nowhere for this run just to outright fail, unless you just repeatedly die to a certain act for some reason. So I'm going to crash the game probably. Or I'm going to completely get rid of the sound. There we go. I want to do this again because I think I did it wrong. And if I don't get it this time, I'll just move on in my life. So I can move on with the tutorial. Alright, so built in 2 directions that time. This was a little different, but that's okay. So now we'll build down, then we'll build all the way up. I'm not sure that's going to build us in 2 directions at once. If not, we'll deal with it. Feel like it should. Also, these guys are very random. If whether or not they're going to... So I don't understand why or why not. Sometimes some of the monsters will want to harass you a lot, and other times they'll just sit there on their lairs. So I know I said that would be the last time I was doing that, but I really want to kind of figure this out. Go up, down, up. And so a lot of this, you know, simulation is in no way optimized in this game. Since there's a lot that goes into simulation, there's still a lot to figure out what's the best way to optimize it. And it's not a simple answer at the end of the day. The white circle on top of my screen is where I was drawing and I forgot to remove it. But I was showing the importance of the global clock. So I'm just going to go through this now and show you a lot of the strategies instead of specific ones. So let's just start over one more time and we'll actually go through. Apologize if you're watching, you're like, oh, come on, move on already. I would be too. Alright. I also apparently didn't kill enough to build 2 houses. Actually, I'm going to let him destroy that house. So there's a reason I'm going to let him destroy that house. This is an RNG thing, but it's worth noting. The tile that I'm currently on, there will be an event later on where all the houses in this tile catch on fire. And you have to put them out with rain. And I think the building cycles will either deteriorate or stop when that happens until you put the fire out. Anyway, either case, it brings up text that you have to go through, and it costs a little bit of time. Since I know this blue dragon is going specifically for this house that's just right here, let me kind of outline this. It's this house right here that he's looking at. I'm going to let him blow it up because it's going to catch on fire, and I'm going to have to put it out with the rain anyway. It's going to save me a little bit of time. I lose 4 population, but at the end of the day, that's not a big deal. So I'm going to let him blow it up, and then I'm going to kill him. Alright. So now we're sealing our first lair. We don't have to worry about rushing around killing monsters like you've seen me doing anymore. Everything that was in that lair just went into the town's total soul counter. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to go down. We did build a house down here. And we're going to build some roads down here. And now we're going to go immediately back up. So, basically, I'm still building in 2 directions at once. This is one of those situations where I'm kind of building in 3 directions at once. Because you look at right here, this tile. This tile right here, I built the road on because I want them at some point to at least build 1 house on it. What that lets me do is later on, I can go immediately after I seal the bat lair that's down here. After I seal it, I can immediately go and seal the blue dragon lair that's across the river. We can't cross the river right now because until you seal all 3 other lairs, you can't cross the river until they learn how to build bridges. Once you seal all 3, they learn how to build bridges, you can go across and seal the last one. So again, to recap what I did, after I sealed the first layer, I'm moving down here, built a road here, built another road down here, and now I'm moving back up over here. And we're going to get stopped 1 tile short of this layer, but that's fine. And we can just kind of kill monsters at our own leisure. And we'll let this build out until we seal this layer. And I'm going to keep him at 1 health. These guys take 3 shots to kill. But I'm going to keep him 1 health in case I see him trying to go blow up another house. And so from here, it's just kind of, you just kind of wait for things to happen. And the parts of the run like this, it's just, there's not much going on. You don't have to worry about, apart from the blue dragons trying to blow up the houses and the bat snappers trying to kill your guys by taking them from their house. So now you seal this layer. So I'm going to be sealing 3 layers in 1 turn on this time. So all this is going to be happening right here. You want to do this very quickly. Between the text, you want to be moving this cursor all the time. Because if there's any time that it's not moving, then you're losing out time and you're probably not going to be able to seal all 3 layers on this final turn. Also, that's another thing that the timer doesn't move is when you're telling the cursor where to move, then the timer's not ticking during that point. So we're going to go back, tell it to move all the way down here. It's going to cut me off right there. We're just going to wait for it to make its way down here. And we'll continue moving it. You can move on top of this bat layer and they're going to start sealing it. Now again, the timer doesn't move while it's sealing either. If we look at the top up here, we can see that, yeah, we're about halfway through our cycle. So now I did a mistake here, but something that you want to be ready for. If you know you're about to move your cursor again, you want to be right on top of it for whatever text comes up and when you're able to get back into your menu. So I'm going to lose a little bit of time here because I still have to move down there on top of the cursor before I can move it. But it's not too bad. I should be able still to seal the blue dragon lair. Plus they have to tell me that they can build bridges. So for this, when they build bridges, you want to wait a little bit after that text box fades. Because if you go as fast as you can, they still can't quite build bridges and you can't cross over. So you wait maybe half a second, at the most, and then you can, once you wait that long after they tell you we can build bridges now, you can just go up here. I moved to this tile to add an extra row. I'll explain why later. And you just move up here and immediately cross and go and immediately seal this next layer. And boom, that's 3 layers in 1 turn. So there's the reason I built this road. Now I told you that the timer up here is global. How's the best way to explain this? There is a cycle for every city to every zone to get a turn to build when you're not actively at it. So we have 6 zones. You have Filmore, Bloodpool, Candora, Aidos, Mirana, and North Wall. Basically what happens is it keeps track of which zone is supposed to build on that turn, whether or not you're active at it. So basically what happens is construction cycle 1 happens, Filmore's going to grow. Oh wait, you're already active in Filmore, so it builds anyway, regardless of whether or not you're there. But then construction cycle 2 happens, Bloodpool grows. Well, in our current situation though, it's like, well, there's nothing in Bloodpool to grow, so nothing happens. And then it moves on to Candora. Then it moves on to Aidos, and then it moves on to Mirana, and then it moves on to Northwall, then back to Filmore. And so basically every 6 cycles, every town gets a chance to try to grow while you're not there. And if you're there, it's going to grow anyway, so it doesn't matter if you're there or not. So keep that in mind. So the reason I built this extra road here, then to kind of draw this to a circle, is I want there to be extra places for it to build houses so that they don't run out of building space while I'm not here. And since this road takes no time at all to build, and actually since I can go diagonally, it saves me a little bit of time telling the cursor where to go. I can just go through, build the extra road. I've got extra housing space for later when Phantom building's going on. I think that's what the max population guide calls it. And it's kind of a win-win scenario. It's easy to do. So that's something you want to keep in mind, that you have enough building space for all your future towns to build after you leave them. And you're not coming back to them ever. So, Filmore is the town that will build the most, since it's the very first town we're making and you're never coming back to it for the rest of the game. It was the town that will build the most as you go on. So, how you doing, Disenchantment? So keep that in mind as you go on, so that you make sure that you have enough roads going on, so that there's enough places for houses to be built after you leave that town. So from here on, we've sealed the last layer. What I do after I seal in the last layer, just immediately go into Act 2. Let them say what they have to say. I go in, return to the Sky Palace. That's the very first thing. So it's just basically menu, right, select, and you're in. Then you go and fight monsters. And we go on. So you'll see me use a lot of the different techniques. You'll see me use 2 new techniques that you did not see in Act 1 here, and I'll point them out to you both times when I get them. And you'll see me do a lot more damage boosting. So I'm just going to play through this and kind of briefly talk to it. And pretty sloppy, honestly. I may die up here, but that's fine. Yeah, okay. I'll show that later. That's not important. This is something, when you start doing runs, you need to get used to being able to jump up these platforms anyways. It's pretty fun. This is actually a lot of fun doing this. Alright. And so this goes to the boss, which I'll explain separately. So let me go back to here. So first thing I do is I just immediately hold backwards. Since even though I'm moving forward when I left fall off that ledge, if you don't jump and when you're falling, so you just fall off a ledge, you can move backwards to some degree. So I just immediately start doing that. We go down, and I immediately slash this first bat here. So I go down, kind of jump there. You do move slower in the water, so you want to kill stuff. And I'm working here, jump between these two. Now there's a mechanic here I want to explain, and it's hard to get. I think it's frame perfect. We're going to kill this guy because he's annoying. When you slash, if you slash or jump on the same frame that you start to fall off this ledge, you will actually get the full momentum as if you had jumped off the ledge. But you will not go up at all, which is important since these spikes are up here. You can't really do that. Otherwise, we'd just jump off anyway. So I'm going to demonstrate this. I did not do it here, so I'm going to try to do it again. And I'm going to save closer to. Down backing in ActRaiser. Alright, so let's go here, and I'll save here. And I missed it there. And missed it there. It's a nice to have strategy. It's not required, but it certainly saves you time to get. There we go. So you notice the difference there. I landed here, which is you normally wouldn't, but you get the full momentum of like a jump minus the actual horizontal displacement. So again, this is what a regular one looks like if I just run off, compared to what it looks like if I actually do the slash dive, or whatever it's called, which is hard to do. There we go. We did it again. So we can move forward. You can kind of backwards damage boost to get across that a little better. Otherwise, that guy knocks you a lot. So for this part here, this gate, you want to jump towards the gate right around here. Right around this area. So when you jump, I want to save here to demonstrate better. Because if you just move forward, you get stopped automatically right here. And then you can move forward and move on. However, if you jump right about that spot, you can get further before you get stopped. It's kind of like using the claw to grip yourself towards the door in Mega Man X2, if you've ever seen a run of that. And if you do it too late, that's what happens. So that's kind of the spot where you want to do it at. Alright. Backwards damage boosted. Alright, for this next part, I'm going to show you... I've got another jump, slash jump to extend your jump with, and this one's pretty important. You can jump over this entire middle platform. Like, you don't need to touch it, you don't need to worry about this monster. You can just skip this entire middle platform if you do your jump extension properly. Just like this. That's a great example. There we go. You can just completely skip it. If you do the same thing there, it's a little easier. So here I'm going to demonstrate a trick. If you're just starting to run, I wouldn't recommend bothering to go for this because this takes some time to learn and understand how this works. But you can get yourself damage boosted and stuck into this wall where you can just repeatedly jump up this wall, and you can save, I think it's 10 to 12 seconds you save just by doing this, as compared to actually jumping up the platforms individually. And so that saves a good bit of time. To kind of give an idea of how that works, You basically stand here, and I usually look for the projectile to pass right around here. Once it passes right around there, I jump up, and I'm pushing backwards against the wall when I jump up. Now, if you do it at the right time and you get hit in just the right way, then you'll clip into the wall. But the hard part about this is you have to stop holding right. Because I can show you, you saw how I was kind of running in place there? That's because I held right too long, started trying to run into the wall, and it pushed me out of the wall. So when you do it, you want to stop holding right basically as soon as you get in there, and then you can jump up to your heart's content. And this trick saves a lot of time in a couple places in the run. But it's not a required trick, it's something that a more advanced runner would do. Maybe even intermediate. It's not too hard to pull off, but it does cost you health trying to do it. So keep that in mind. And I held back too long there. Okay. So the rest of it's pretty straightforward though. I'm actually going to go up this manually so I can show you what I do here. You want to kill the guys that are always in the middle, or the worm guys. Otherwise you don't need to. So go up here, kill him, just jump up here. If you do it quick enough, you can avoid these guys' fire, as long as you don't fall. Going up here. Gotta kill him again. Don't fall down. This takes a little bit of practice to get used to doing. You can actually do this. This is a little risky, but you can jump over the guy like that and then die because I'm bad. Alright. There we go. And then you come up here, kill this guy. Kill this guy, and so if you do this right, you can get damage boosted forward if you run into the spikes. So if you run forward, if the bats weren't there, you would always be able to outrun the spikes that are falling. The spikes are not the problem. It's the bats that want to throw you backwards into them. So what I try to do is for when I'm about to hit a bat, I will wait until right after I pass a spike, and then I'll turn around and try to get hit by it, so I can just go forward through the bat. Like here, like that, and like that. And then Minotaur boss is literally easy. Like the easiest thing you will ever fight. You just sit here and you swing at him until he dies. Don't even bother trying to avoid damage unless you're like critically low on health, which there's no reason you should be since you picked up the apple right there. And that is Act 2 in a nutshell. So again, the two techniques that I showed you for this act was, the first one was the frame perfect timing of hitting slash or jump as you're falling off the ledge, so you can get the full forward momentum of a jump, and then clipping into the wall to be able to jump up it like that. So those are two tricks you can kind of add to what you know about the game. Now from here, we're going to have to let the construction cycles play out a little bit. If you've never played this game before and you're getting into it speedrunning, or if you only marginally played it and you never really understood some things, the global population determines what level you're at. So you can't go on to the next zones until you reach a certain level. So there's a level requirement. So once you reach a certain population, you'll get to level 2, another certain population to get to level 3, so on and so forth. I can't remember how many levels are total in the game. I think there's 15 or 16. But for this run, you only need to be at level 10 in order to beat the game, because that's the last zone's requirement for getting into it. So you get to Bloodpool, you need to be level 2, Candora level 4, Aidos Act 6, Mirana Act 8, Northwall, I keep saying Act, level 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So right now we're level 1. We don't have enough population to get to level 2 currently, so we're going to have to it's probably going to be one construction cycle. It'll build out enough people so we can get to level 2, then we'll immediately move on to Bloodpool. It might require an extra population cycle though. So, again, going back to the global timer that I was talking about here, when you move on to a new zone, you want to leave your previous zone at the very beginning of that cycle, so the hourglass is full when you leave. Because if I left, say I was level 2 and I could move on to Bloodpool right now, if I left right now and went to Bloodpool, I would have the hourglass just as you see it right now when I went to Bloodpool, meaning I have no time at all to kill any monsters of any sort basically before the first construction cycle kicks in. So you want to make sure when you go to the next zone you have a full hourglass, so you have all the time that you need to kill some monsters so you can get your first construction cycle off. And these are things to keep in mind as you go through all the parts of the run. So now you'll see some of the fancy housing. Another thing I forgot to mention. Alright, so we reached level 2. Another thing I forgot to mention is you have these support structures. So you'll notice throughout the game you have things like wheat fields, you'll have the cornfields, you'll have these big houses like this, you'll have windmills, you'll have horse ranches. Depending on what zone you're at, it depends on what you'll see here. These actually do not add to your population at all, but rather these are support structures. So basically what support structures do is they enable you to have the population that you do. So basically, if your population, how it works is, if the game goes every cycle and it tries to see, can I build house, do I have enough population support to build houses? And if it says yes, it'll build as many houses as it can. The maximum number of houses it will build in one cycle is 6 houses. Total of 6 structures is the maximum number of structures that can be built in one cycle. Whether they're a combination of support structures or houses or just houses or whatever. But basically the game will create support structures, so it's not like, it's kind of a maximum population that you can currently build out to. And so you're going to lose the ability to build some houses because support structures have to be built. On average, what will happen is 5 houses will be built, then 1 support structure. And so when we go to Bloodpool, we're going to pick up an item called wheat. And so it's very imperative that you take 2 items of wheat with you after you leave Bloodpool. And we need to remember to take offerings with us before we leave here. The thing about the difference between cornfields is what you see here. This is the cornfield right here. And then you have a wheat field which appears blue, which you can easily recognize if you've played this game before. The wheat field, if I recall correctly, I think it gives 16 or 18 support. Or, I'm sorry, the cornfield does 16 or 18 support from the cornfield, whereas a wheat field, actually, no, hang on, I'm sorry, I'm wrong on that. Cornfield gives 32 support, whereas a wheat field gives 48 support. That means that you can have 48 population per wheat field that you have. So you require less wheat fields to build more houses, so you can get more houses out, so you're not spending time wasting houses being built on wheat fields, if that makes sense. So it's important to remember to upgrade your wheat fields your cornfields as soon as you see them to wheat. Because when you get into zones, once you upgrade the first cornfield that gets built to wheat, they're going to build wheat from then on out. And so you'll have to do that in Candora and Mirana, but not Aidos. And you don't care Northwall. Once you get to Northwall, you don't care about your population at all. You just care about sealing lairs and getting to Act 2 and the boss rush. So now that we're at level 2, we can move on to Bloodpool. There's one thing that we want to do before we leave here, and you will forget this a lot because I still forget this a lot, unless you just have an amazing memory. You want to take the offerings that come with Filmore. So we're going to go in, we're going to go to menu and pick up the offerings. And we see they have 3 offerings here. They have a Strength of an Angel, which quadruples your arrow strength, if you don't know what that does. Bomb, which kills all the monsters on screen. We'll be using both of these, by the way, at one point in the run. And the bridge. If you don't pick up anything else, this is required to advance the game. You have to use the bridge in Bloodpool so they know how to build bridges. Otherwise, they will just sit there and not be able to do anything They will seal one layer and that's it. So you have to remember to build the bridge. You can't just like, oh, I forgot that item. Oh, well, I'm just losing time. No, this item is required for you to even progress the game. So you can't forget this going out. Worst case is you forget and you just have to come back and come get it. So from here we go straight to the Sky Palace movement. We go move over to Bloodpool and we go to fight monsters just as normal. And then we reach Bloodpool Act 1, where we have, I think, some of the best music in the game. So I'm going to save at the beginning here. Again, I'm going to play through this. I don't have anything really new to teach you here that I haven't taught already. But we're going to go through this, and I'm just going to demonstrate how this stage works. You see me slash jumping there. A lot of slash jumps just make the jumps more comfortable. You don't necessarily need them, but they certainly help. Slash jumps lets me jump over that one little bird there. Also, I didn't want to run into him, but I did. So I've got low health, but that's fine. And we'll stop here before I get to the mana core. So this is a pretty short stage too, so it does not require much to do this stage with. So again, I'm going to start going through the individual parts that I did in this stage. So you have this first guy here. And so I want to say that the monster patterns always start the stage the same way. So if you open Bloodpool the same, you can every time, the first time you go into Bloodpool Act 1, Act 2, any stage in the game for platforming, you can always expect the same monster patterns on your first time through. If you die and you reload from the beginning or the midpoint in the stage, they will be different. But your first time going through, you can always expect the same patterns, and so the strat you use, as long as you're executing your strats correctly, it'll be the same thing every time. And so that's good to know going in. And so what I do here when I start first is I try to jump off this edge of the ledge as late as possible, but you don't want to jump too late for risk of it just falling into the the river, the blood pool. And then I will try to jump. I'm going to kill him I'm going to try to jump here as late as possible, and that kind of gives me a little bit of a boost there. It's kind of hard to see. I don't even know if it's really that much of a boost, but that's what I found consistent for me to be able to get underneath this guy's rock when he throws it. Hey, what's up? How you going? By doing that, I can move under his rock and just and I can slash jump right over him. So let me try to demonstrate this. Just do that. And I failed the slash jump there. I actually slashed too late. Even if you do get hit, you can still slash jump. If you're starting to run this game, I wouldn't try to recommend trying to jump over him. I would kill him and then jump over, because you can lose a lot of time if you end up dying there. But that's a slash jump. For this next part, you want to move forward. This guy will always be in the same place every time. And so you want to jump up to the middle platform here, and you can just move forward this way. Jump off here, you jump here, and this part's pretty simple. If you're fast enough, you can avoid his rock. You slash jump to get above that guy. Jump down here. This next part you want to make sure you get a good jump out of. There's that bird that just passed me. If you do it correctly, you will not get hit by this bird. But if your jump is too shallow, then you'll get hit by that bird and get flung backwards into the blood pool. So you have to make sure not to mess that up. Also, these guys move on a global timer. It does not matter if they're on screen or not, they will always be moving. I'm gonna try something here. See, I've never really understood what it is that gets you under this guy's rock, but it has to do with jumping like on this edge here. It's really weird. I know I can get it. Yeah, like that. See, that's exactly what you kind of want. Only not that. I'm going to save there. And I'm going to fall off immediately. And so like that, you can get under that guy's rock. You can slash jump over that guy. You can get under this guy's rock, but it's a little more difficult. Now this jump is a little scary. If you jump too shallow, that guy is going to end up hitting you, or that bird's going to end up hitting you. So I'm going to save here to kind of demonstrate what will happen. Basically, if you're not moving forward as fast as you can, there's a good chance. Like if I slow down a little bit. I don't know. Yeah, I used to have a problem with them, and you might get a problem with them every so often too. But I guess it's not as big of a deal as I remember it being. Right here is something interesting. Those little things that fly out of the water. I don't know what they're called, but there's 4 of them coming up. We can cause 2 of them not to spawn just by panning the camera up. Because there's 2 guys normally right here that pop up, and I'll show you. So if you don't pan the camera up, there's 2 more guys that just spawn and get in your way, cause you time. But if you pan the camera up, they don't even show up. I don't think you can really get around the first 2 coming up, but you can definitely, just by jumping and panning the camera up, you can get past the second 2. And then from here, it's pretty straightforward. Now, Manticore, when you're doing your run, yes, I will, Renee. I'll probably upload it to YouTube as well. The Manticore, when you start playing this game, Manticore, you need to just put a lot of practice into him. Because Manticore is a boss that will give you a lot of frustration. Because if you jump at the wrong time, he'll hit you and you'll fall into the Bloodpool and it'll all be over. And he's very frustrating to do. So I'm going to show you the basic strategy. I'm just going to do it and then I'll kind of explain it some when I go into it here. I always start on the right side on the bottom platform. So if you're good enough, you can get a 1 cycle pattern on him. And that was a pretty slow 1 cycle, but it was still a 1 cycle. It takes a lot of practice to be able to kill Manticore in 1 cycle. And enough practice just to make sure that you don't accidentally get hit and you fall into this little gap down here. Because believe it or not, as little as that gap is, you'll end up falling into there a lot. And it's really annoying. And you want to throw your controller and you want to rage quit. And it's just not happy times. So it takes a lot of practice learning how to properly kill this boss. So let me reload. Again, start on the right side. Basically, as soon as the movement lets me move, I'm moving towards him, doing a slash as I'm landing. And I did not make it that time. See, that's an example right there. That flame could have easily hit me into the middle there. I want to show you guys a good fight. And I keep forgetting how many slashes I can do. A lot of this is a matter of remembering how many slashes you can do at each part. If you just get a consistent pattern with them, you can learn how many slashes you can get away with. That's a better one. And so that's even better. So you can usually kill him. Like, killing him right here is pretty good. I think the best that I've ever done is killing him in midair right here. I don't think I've ever managed to kill him when he was still over there with that specific pattern. But this is something that's just going to take a lot of practice to do. So that's Bloodpool Act 1. I didn't teach you any new techniques there, just specific strategies for the stage. Alright, so Bloodpool Simulation is still pretty tense. There's a lot to it. It's not really much better than Filmore simulation mode. You have a lot to do and a lot to take care of in your first go. So for this, normally what I'm doing, we're going to go down and we're going to do sun on the tile immediately south of the town hall. The sun will get rid of the marsh that's there. Right after initiating the sun miracle, remember that the global timer doesn't tick when miracles are going on. So I'll take advantage of that by going down, killing the blue dragon down south, and then going up, killing the one in the east. Then coming back up after that, and telling our cursor to move. And then we'll go back to killing dragons. Also, this is where you want to use... Actually, I'm sorry. I'm forgetting this wrong. So, yeah, I'm forgetting my order of operations here. So, let me load this again and revise what I just said. So when this comes in, we're going to tell you, sorry, we have something unexpected to say again. So I'm going to move down to that marsh tile, but before I do the miracle, I'm going to use my strength of an angel, and I'm going to use the bridge, and then I'm going to cast the sun. Strength of an angel will let me kill the blue dragons a lot quicker. I kill them with one shot, so I don't need to spend my time shooting 3 shots into them just to kill them. Once the 2 blue dragons are dead, I'll go back up, do my movements, come back down, and just start going back and forth killing them. Again, we're building in 2 directions at once. I'm going to go down, then up, then down again, in that order. So we go here, use offering, strength of an angel, use the bridge, then use the sun. Immediately go down here, kill that, go back up here, move down, up, down, and go back to killing monsters. And if we do it right, they'll build in 2 directions at once, which they did. So from here, we'll use sun on this tile that I'm actually on right now. I'll use the sun, kill some more monsters while the sun's going on. And then when I come back up, I'm going to go down. And then I'm going to go up. And then I'm going to come back down again. So we're doing the kind of down, up, down thing just to make sure that we're building in 2 directions. Then we'll go right back to killing monsters again. So again, sun, kill this guy, go up, move, down, up, down. We'll wait for the cursor. We have to wait for the cursor to get back. Since you can only move the cursor so far in one go, and we'll finish it off by moving it straight to the lair. And now we're going to build in two directions at once too, so that was successful. So now we don't have to worry so much about the monsters. Since we're sealing our first lair, that lair's total gets added to the town counter. So now we have a couple things we need to do here. I'm going to change the direction of where I'm building. There's a tile down here that I'm going to use sun on. I'm going to move the cursor down here so I start crossing that bridge. Then I'm going to go back up over here. And I'm going to let it build out. Since we have so many souls in the soul counter now, it's going to build in both directions at once. I don't have to go back and forth 3 times like I have been. So go down here, use the sun, kill a monster because we don't have anything better to do. Now we're going to move down here. I'm going to do the diagonal here because it's faster, so I get more roads. I'll just do miracles. Stuff that you know you have to clear out, you might as well go ahead and clear it out if you have the SP for it. At this point, it's not so critical, so this is where it gets really relaxed. Usually the first 2-3 construction cycles of zones like this is where you're really panicking, crunching to get the souls in, so you can make sure you're building in 2 directions at once every turn. So from here, I'm kind of alternating what directions I point the cursor in. So now I'm going to build one road that way, go back down here, and I'm going to build out this way. My strength of an angel wore off, but that's okay. And I'm going to tell it to go to this layer. So in the next cycle, we'll be able to seal all 3 layers, assuming Timmy gets lost. There is an event in this zone, and if you've played that, you're familiar with it. I think it's Tommy. I never remember his name. This came up during the SNES Superstars Marathon too, that I couldn't remember his name. But he has to get lost, and he'll show up over here in this cave. The people will give an offering that you have to accept, and you have to pick up the loaf of bread, use the loaf of bread on him, and he's going to bring back the skull, which you use to banish the red demon lair. So now that that layer is sealed, we're going to go all the way back up here. We're going to need to do this twice since we can move it the full way in one go. So we'll wait here for the cursor, and then we can seal this layer. And then we have to wait for Tommy. Teddy, thank you. See, I can't even remember. I knew, at least I knew it started with a T. And we just kind of wait around for him to show up. Usually right around over the top. I think after this construction cycle, he'll show up. See, wheat fields. We want that. That's good stuff. Alright, so now Teddy's gotten lost. So what we need here is we take the offering. Just take all the offerings because you want all of them. Then immediately go back and use the loaf of bread right on top of where Teddy is. I think there's like 4 tiles you can use it, then it'll still work there. Then you want to position yourself down here and wait for the next, Position yourself down here and take the magical skull. Take another thing of wheat, so that's the second one that you have. And use the skull right here. Immediately after you use the skull, you want to move upwards and you want to position yourself just above the castle. And I'll show you why. So I'm moving up and I'm positioning yourself right around there. The reason is, this pool is going to change from red to blue. It's going to move you to a very specific point before it changes though. So you want to go ahead and get there before it tries to move you to reduce the amount of time, or reduce it all if you move good enough, so that you don't waste any time waiting for it to move you there before it actually changes color. So you'll see me probably move a little bit here, but yeah, so I moved a little bit up before it decided to change it. And so that's what you immediately want to do. You use the skull to banish the layer and just start moving forward up as fast as you can. So that's the last layer that we've got to seal. We can move on to Bloodpool Act Tool now. Most people have magic by this point. We still don't have magic. We don't really need magic yet in this run. So, and I just wasted time, but that's fine. All right, so now we're turning to Sky Palace, and we'll go fight monsters, and go on to Bloodpool Act 2. For this one, there's nothing new I'm going to be really teaching you. There's a couple things I'll go over. I'll just play through the level again, like always. Jump over these guys, jump over this guy, run through this guy. You can't jump over him. And he takes like 2 hits to kill, so. If you do these jumps correctly, you can kind of get on those elevators there. 3 blocks is what you want to look for jumping up ledges like that. I want to do a slash jump to not do that. So, I have an instinct that I just load the previous state. It's a bad instinct. I actually jumped to like 3.5 tiles. I'm surprised I made it there. There we go. Just go across there. Slash jump across these. You have to do a slash jump to skip those platforms. Run down here, jump here, get hit. An important note to make is when you have invuln frames, you move through water at normal speed. Otherwise, you move slower. So, having invuln frames while you're in the water is a good thing. At least for this stage. This is the hardest part of the entire place right here. You guys catch that? That's really hard to do. Alright. There's a little trick up here to kind of catching the platforms, and I'm just not even catching the platforms normally, so probably not going to do it. I'll explain it later. Nice. Alright, so let's just... That was near the end of the stage anyway, so let's just go back over it. It's pretty... The first room here is pretty easy. You just jump over these guys. You don't even need to worry about slash jumping. Run right through him. As soon as you land, do a slash. Just take that damage. You can jump up here and get on this elevator before it passes. So you save a little bit of time by doing that. Slash jump here. If you do it correctly like that, you can get enough distance so the spikes don't throw you down. For this part, sometimes that slime right there will fly, sometimes it won't. If it does fly, you either want to kind of jump backwards into it so you don't get thrown back, or you just want to duck and wait for it to pass. Again, learning to slash jump so you can get across those platforms is important. Again, you want to jump here, take damage from him, so you move fast through the water. You want to jump as soon as you land on that platform back there, because that guy's reaching up to hit you, so you want to make sure that you jump as soon as you can. If you get hit by him, it's no big deal. The thing is, though, if you move through the course fast enough, you can make this elevator, like, you'll get here, and you'll see this first elevator here, and you'll have barely enough time to get on the elevator to do that. And I'll actually kind of demonstrate that coming up here. I don't know why I jumped. So go down here. Slash jump across here. And then this room. Again, jump here to avoid the water as long as possible. Take damage. See, I got hit by him. You can see I was slow enough. If you're fast enough, you can make that elevator. And so we're going to work on doing that. I actually got it the first time through when I was showing you guys a basic overview of how to do this room. And this is the longest room in this act. There, got that jump. So we should make this, well, I think nope, I still made it. So you have a little bit of time to be slow, but not much. And, you know, if you miss the elevator, you just wait for the next one. It's not a big deal, it's just a time loss. It's better to miss the elevator than it is to die, so. And literally, all I do is I just walk through that room, I just take the damage from the guys. So this guy right here, you kind of have to do the same sort of jump. Landing here and jumping as soon as you land, because he's reaching up to hit you. So you just want to jump as soon as you land. It can be hard to do sometimes. Sometimes you just hit jump too early. And then you just climb these platforms. As somebody who's starting out, I wouldn't recommend trying to rush this at all. You just take your time. You can't go any faster than they pop out anyway. Go up here, refill your health. If you do it fast enough, which it's not hard to do that fast enough. Let me show you. Alright. Go up here. I'm going to show you this one trick that lets you get to the apple quicker. Saves a little bit of time, maybe half a second or so. I missed it. Let me try to get it again. It's right here. Got it. Oh. So you still have to wait for that one platform though to get up. The difference is you get here pretty much in the middle of this platform cycle. Whereas if you get the apple early, you get here as soon as that cycle starts. So it saves you a little bit of time. That's a hard trick to do though. You have to be on the money with your jumps. You really don't have much time to make that jump with. Otherwise you just do this, you jump up here, grab the apple, jump back, jump over here. So what you do for these guys, you approach them, wait for them to stop, and then you jump. Because once you wait long enough, you can guarantee that they're going to dart their hand straight forward, and you just jump up. If you jump too soon, they're going to dart their hand diagonally, and they're going to hit you, and they're going to knock you backwards. So, alright, so Werewolf, Zeppelin Werewolf. This is like the fan tune of ActRaiser right here. He's not technically hard, but the RNG plays a big role in how fast you kill this guy. A big role. So you have a total of 6 possible places that this guy can spawn. He's either going to spawn here, 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 or here. Those are the 6 places he can spawn. Now, the places that you want him to spawn are right here and right here. Because then you can kind of position your avatar's front foot kind of in line with the statue. And if you have to be careful because you have to be forward enough to be able to swing and hit him, but far back enough away that you don't get hit by his lightning. Literally Fantune. Yeah, Axel. Really. So you have to be careful. If he spawns down here, he's going to shoot his little projectile and he's going to immediately warp off. He's not going to do his lightning. So if he spawns down here, you just get probably 3 or 4 hits off on him and then just let him do what his thing, whatever. If he gets up here, this is where you start cursing the game. Really. It's really hard to get much of any damage off here, and you have to get yourself in position to even do damage on him. So these 2 places right here are ideally where you want him to go. So let me clear all that. Alright, so let's see how this fight goes. See, you kind of have to do this number, and he's going to knock you off anyway. And he spawns there. He's there very shortly. So, and he spawned back up there. This is a great pattern so far. So, for this, what you want to do, if you ever watched Wire Sponge from a Mega Man X2 run, there's a similar concept in here for the werewolf. You want to get him down to half health, but you don't want him to pass half health until you get him at the very beginning of the cycle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to try to hit him, and I'm going to get him down to half health, which if you count the tick marks, you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, a lot of tick marks, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So he's 24 health. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You want to get him to basically where the eye is. So you want to get him so that's in line with the eye there on the right side of the eye. So this one's red. If you get him past that, so if he's below half health, when he teleports, he's going to immediately teleport to the middle and begin his werewolf transformation. So you want to make sure that his health is as low as possible before he teleports away if he's below half health. Otherwise, you have a lot of work to do in the werewolf transformation. And once he starts jumping around in that phase, it's going to be a massive pain for you to kill him quickly. So again, you want to make sure that you deal as much damage to him before you go half health as possible. So let's see what happens here when I go through this and see if I can get him to where I want him to be. So that's where I want him to be, and I'm going to wait for him to pick a different spot. I'm going to still wait for him. He can appear there too, so he's got 8 spots, I'm sorry. That's not as bad of a place, honestly. So I'm going to save here, because I want to demonstrate. So if I don't get hit by his lightning, which I didn't, you can kill him before he teleports away. And you can actually skip the second phase altogether and kill him without him transforming into the werewolf. So otherwise, I'm just going to load this. And I'm going to just wait for him to like get up to the other places. So this is going to be a little slow. No, I take it back. It's not. Okay, there we go. I missed some slashes. So he's gonna, 3 health away. So after he's below half health, when he teleports away the next time, he goes in the middle, does the werewolf transformation. And this is why you want to have so little health, because after he's going to start jumping around, it's going to be unpleasant. Basically, you want to avoid that as much as possible. So that's the basic rundown on this boss. If you have any questions, go and throw them in chat, and I'll try to get to them at opportune points. If you have a specific question, just flash me and make sure I see it. Okay. Alright, so at this point, we're going to have to wait a couple construction cycles to get our population up so we reach level 4. Right now, we're level 3. I'm waiting on level 4. We have to be level 4 before we can go to Candora. There is nothing that I'm really interested. Well, I take that back. There is something we're very interested in taking away from here. These people are going to have something to tell you, like always. So, you want to go ahead and go to the offerings that they have. You're going to take a source of magic and magical stardust. And that's what you should have. You don't want to bother taking another wheat because you have 2 already. Excuse me, that should be all you need. And depending on how well you do your construction before Act 2, depends on how many construction cycles you need afterwards. More or less. And so at this point, it becomes waiting. Now, there is an option here. You can build a road over here to connect Filmore to Bloodpool. The advantage of that is they will teach Filmore to how to grow wheat. But at this point, I'm not sure if it's worth it or not. I've never really worked it out, because you do have an extra bit of text to go through when you do connect it. So I'm not sure if you can actually gain any time from doing that. You might, but again, there's simulation. There's a lot of variables, a lot of complexity in the simulation that you need to go through a lot of stuff to figure out what's fastest. Simulation in this run is still not optimized. It's still a lot of things to go through. So, I've tried to write myself a script to try to do a lot of variables and try to figure out what's the most optimal way. And I'm kind of worked on that in a little while, but I might go back to it soon. So now we're in level 4, so we can go on to Candora. We're going to go to Candora immediately after this level thing's done, because again, you want to move to the next zone at the very beginning of a construction cycle. So the hourglass is going to go to full. We're going to go to the menu and we're going to move over. And we'll move over to Candora. Now, this is going to be a little different. When you get to Candora, you want to select your magic, the Stardust, and then you just move back over one to the left and go to fight monsters. Stardust is the best and the worst magic in the game at the same time. Because Stardust is entirely RNG driven, and it will drive you crazy, and you'll be praising it one minute, and then you'll be cursing it the next. It is the best and the worst magic in the game. So, alright, Candora, I'm going to just run through this and show you basically how I do this stage. Jump over this cactus, jump up here, jump over the cactus, take the top road, jump over him, kill this flame, and hopefully land between the 2 cactuses, but I didn't. If you slash jump over these guys. You can clear them without getting hit by them. It's difficult though. Kind of jump over him and him. I just kind of get hit by him and him. Then you move on to the next. So the first part of the stage is not very hard at all. Take a blind jump down here. Go up here. Refilling this apple. If you have enough health, you don't need to. Yeah, Stardust. Yeah, Stardust is a nice spell, but sometimes it can just screw you over pretty big. So the what's it called? Antlions down here, but we're gonna go through and describe some of the things that I did in this stage. Nothing really new as far as techniques go, as a lot of it is just avoiding. I take the high road here, and then you jump at a correct spot that you can kill that flame in midair and land between these cactuses, so you don't get damage boosted backwards at all. Not a big deal if you don't, but it conserves not only health but time if you can manage to pull that off. Also, once you get running this game, I encourage you to try to find other patterns to, to whatever levels. Maybe you can find something better, faster than I've been doing. These are hard to do because right here is the combination of not only performing your slash jumps, but also jumping at the right place. So the first part of the stage is not very involved. It's pretty straightforward. The second part is where you can die a lot because you have the bottomless pit that you can fall into. So coming up here, I'm going to show you probably an easier way to do this, this part of the stage. So what you can do for an easier way is you can just kill this guy. You can jump under that guy pretty easily. And then you work your way up here. Kill those guys, come up, work over here, and don't go down, but just use that little stepping stone to kind of cross here. And you can run down here. And that's not very involved for a new runner. That's not too hard to do. Just need to make sure that you're not falling down in the bottomless pit. The strategy that I do here is can be pretty brutal sometimes. I try to basically land on the very left edge of this platform here, and then do that. Slash here. I'm a little bit behind. I do this blind jump down here. And I take a lot of damage that process. So, in a lot of these stages are, you can try to do what I'm doing, but whatever works best for you is typically the best prescription. So, for the antlion, I'm going to pause here. The best you can do with antlion without using magic is 4 rounds. You can do, I think, 7, if you do 7 damage to him every round, then... Shoot, if you do 6 damage to him every single round, then he will die in 4 rounds. That can be hard to do, though. So let's see here. Basically, I wait for him to come up. Yo. Nice glitch. That's cool. Alright. So we glitched out the game. We soft locked our game. That's pretty cool. I've never seen this before. Huh. How about that? Alright, well, fine. Be that way. Nice soft lock. I've not seen that one before. Apparently if you pause and it might be game saver related, honestly, but who knows. Alright, so Candora Act 1. Tutorial luck. Totally Alright, so let's continue. Again, to kind of recap, go in here, make sure you have Stardust selected, fight monsters. And we'll do this again. Get back to where we were. I'm going to save at the beginning of the stage so I don't accidentally load that soft lock in again. Jump over him, jump up here, jump here. Take excessive damage from the cactus. I have no clue how I just not get hit by that flame. So this is bad right here. The bad thing about this is that flame will eventually catch you. Good news is it's too high to worry about it. But yeah, if the flames will just keep coming at you until they pass you, then they'll turn around. Alright, so I did 5 damage that round. I did 7 that round, so I made up for the first round. I did 7 that round, so it's going to be easy to 4-round him. Now, conversely... So, we have the soft locked again. That's cool. So, it is a game saver problem. Actually... Yeah. Alright, so we're gonna stop doing that. La-di-da, da-da-da. Again, if you guys have any questions, this is probably a good time for them. Otherwise, we'll just do this stage again. For the 3rd time now. So the Antlion is a very, I guess I should explain him a little more. He's a very basic boss. He's 100% predictable in what he's going to do. He does the same thing every single time. He'll come up, he'll fire his little projectiles, and then he'll submerge, and his tentacles will attack you. If you kind of backwards jump, it's easy to avoid them, the tentacles. Or the claws, or whatever they are, not tentacles. That was kind of close. Alright, here we are again. We're not going to save, we're just going to go through. You kind of want to move a little bit left so his little rock thing doesn't hit you. Or move right, I mean. So I only hit him 5 times there. So let's try to use the Stardust and see what we get out of it. And we didn't activate it in time, really. So. Alright. So anyway, let's go. Candora's simulation is pretty simple, actually. There's not much you need to worry about with it. You're only trying, there's parts of it usually you're only building in one direction at a time before you seal your first layer. When you're trying to build in two directions, you've already sealed your first layer, so it's not even a concern at that point. So Candora's simulation is really easy to do. So we'll save it here. So first thing I'm doing, I'm going to make it rain. I'm going to make it rain a lot. So we're just going to go here, make it rain, kill monsters. Make it rain again. We do have to kill stuff here. But we can just keep making it rain over and over. If I kill this guy, I can get another one in. There we go. So, I forgot a critical part of this. You need to tell them where to build. Duh. So, what you do, you make it rain, go kill some monsters, and then you go back and tell them where to build. I won't actually have them build 3 roads, but I'm going to make them focus on the cursor, where to build. So, I'm going to tell them to build this way, then tell them to build this way, then this way, then this way. And I want to give myself a little more time. And building one direction. Now, this first wheat field pops up. And this is normally what happens. You only get the one house and the one wheat field because you can't kill enough monsters before the first construction cycle to build 2 houses. And you don't really need to. You don't really need to worry about it. But what you want to immediately do here when this first wheat field pops up is you want to be sitting on the bottom left corner of it. So you got your wheat field here, right? And I can't draw off my right hand, so you have to forgive me. Your wheat field here, and you want to be sitting right here where I am on the bottom left corner. Because you know how when you use an offering, how the cursor works. It's going to appear right over there. So you want to convert your first wheat field, or I'm sorry, your first cornfield to wheat. And then they'll build wheat from there on out. So now you want to go seal this layer. Sometimes this won't seal. Sometimes they'll take a turn and it will not seal. I have not been able to figure out why that is. Sometimes they seal it, sometimes they don't, and it takes an extra turn. It's not a terribly big deal. You do lose a bit of time because you don't have the full population output that you would from sealing the layer. But it is what it is, you know. I don't know how to make that consistent. I don't know what it is that causes that. So if somebody else can find that for me, that'd be cool. So after we've sealed that, we're going to go make it rain down here. We're still going to kill monsters because we need SP. And we're going to move down here and start working towards sealing this layer. We'll go up here. And we'll make it rain here. Basically, we're carving a path so we can get rid of all these layers. The thing is, you want to make it use as few miracles as possible, because miracles take time, and they take a significant amount of time. The more you do, the more time you lose. So you want to do as few as possible. So we're just basically doing what we need to make a path to these guys. And that's pretty much what we're doing here. Still building in 2 directions at once, but it's a pretty simple area. And now, since we sealed this layer, we're not even building in 2 directions anymore. We're going to just go straight up here, and that's it. We just wait for the construction cycles to finish building out, and we just make sure these guys don't cause trouble. And that's Candora in a nutshell. Simulation of Candora is pretty easy. If you want, you can learn how to dance with the blue dragon. It certainly passes the time. It's pretty simple. All you need to do is stand like to his diagonal, and then learn the timing for when you need to move. And you're just gonna dance with him. Until he does that, because then he's coming for your houses. Alright. See, he's mad now. He wants to blow something up. He's mad that I ditched him in dancing. This guy, not important. Don't worry about him. Usually in a casual playthrough, you'd want to build to him, and he's like a lost guy in the sand. You find out he's dead, and everyone gets sad, and it makes a special kind of music and stuff like that. A lot of things like that is just makes this game that much more great. But unfortunately, you skip an 80% run just because it wastes time. All right, so that's all 4 layers. So now we're going to go into the temple. And we're going to save here. The temple, there's nothing new to teach you here. Temple's pretty straightforward. Again, I'll just play through. You do have to learn how to dodge arrows. Again, slashing before you hit the ground becomes important. And learning to jump over enemies by slash jumping is pretty important too. There is a pretty hard jump in here that if you're just beginning a run, I wouldn't bother going for. It is really nice to get this jump though. I will try it 3 times before I decide that it's not worth it anymore. Looks like right there. So we're just gonna wait in the elevator now. And when I come back through to explain the stage, I'll show that jump in a little more detail. You can do the wall glitch where you get stuck in the wall and jump up the wall here, but since I'm low in health, I'm not going to do it. Waste more time. Oh my gosh. I jumped as I was flying off the edge of that platform. Alright. Use your back button there to avoid getting hit by that arrow. Timing in this section is pretty important. You want to go fast, because if you're slow, you're going to miss this elevator, and then you have to wait a long time for it to come back down. And I'm going to have to be careful up here. Like that. So we're coming up with the boss anyway, so I'm going to go back through this stage now. So for here, I always jump there, duck to avoid the arrow. I kill the snake. Do a slash jump here, kill that guy, kill that guy, kill that guy, jump. Jump over this guy, kill that guy, jump, duck. You do a slash at the top of your jump to jump over him. Now coming up is the jump that I was talking about, and I'm going to save it here. This is a 2-frame jump, so there's like, I think the first jump is frame perfect, and then your slash jump is a 2-frame trick. So it's kind of like CWJ. If you played Super Metroid and you know what that is, it's pretty much like CWJ. And it's pretty hard to get. At the end of the day, you're trying to get stuck over there, and it can happen in one of 2 ways. One way is this way, the other way is this way. So just basically your 2-frame window shows you which way you land on this platform. So that's basically what that comes to. When you land it, you just jump over and you continue on. You don't have to go above. So ideally, you just want to be able to get up here, get this quickly, and you go on. Literally Super Metroid. And this is I mean, it's a hard trick, really. Sometimes I get it first try in a run, other times I just don't get it at all. So there's a reason after 3 tries, I just don't try anymore. Because after a while, that blue flame will respawn. So I think like now he'll respawn, yeah. I'd like to kind of get it on the first try here, but can't seem to do it. There we go. Well, I messed up the slash. I got the first jump, but not the slash. And I think you need to let go before you land in that little part of the platform there too. Otherwise you move forward and the wall pushes you out. There we go. And that's kind of what you want out of that. And so we can try to get stuck in the wall here and just show you kind of how this works. You have to time it to get hit by this guy. I had it, but let's see. There we go. It saves some time. I've never actually calculated how much time it saves. So this next part, and I just need to save here for this next part. Let me get this. There we go. Alright, so let's save. This part's hard to do. I kind of ignore the balls that fall. These things when you land on these platforms is when those balls trigger, the little blue things. So typically what I do for this room is as soon as I start moving, I jump forward. Then I can set up my next jump to make it easy to jump over this guy. Although for some reason I have trouble jumping over the second, whatever these guys are. If you do it quickly, you can jump up here, duck, then, yeah. I don't know why I'm having trouble there. I guess I'm just timing stuff different. You don't want to be too late on that. If you're in doubt, just wait for the arrow to pass. So there's a little jump here that's frame perfect. It's possible to get, but if you jump off the very edge of this and you slash jump at the correct place, you can actually land on this platform up here. And it's very hard to get. Obviously, it's like the time save is pretty small. And it's a nice thing to go for, but I wouldn't worry about it otherwise. Just let you know it's there. Again, you want to slash before you land, so you don't waste time slashing on the ground. And if you make it in time for this elevator, you know, that's just that much less time you have to wait. So at the top of here, we got this one blue guy. Usually I just run through him, get this apple, run by this guy. The Pharaoh is easy sauce. All I do is I jump up, slash, backwards, jump, and slash, and then just do a Stardust. Usually Stardust works pretty well on this guy. That's a good round of RNG right there. It's an easy boss. Let me do that again. Alright. So again with this, I immediately, when you get in here, you start immediately moving forward. Now, the backwards jumping that I was doing, you want to make sure you hit jump before you hold back. So you're jumping neutral, and then you start holding back as immediately as you start jumping. So I'm going to jump slash hold back, basically jump slash hold back, and back yourself into the corner. Even if you don't have any magic, you can just sit here and do this all day with the guy. He'll drop every single time. You don't have to worry. Excuse me. You don't have to worry about if he's going to drop or not. That's an alternative version if you don't use Stardust. It's really easy to do. I forgot to demonstrate if you missed that jump though, the 1 to 2 frame jump in Act 2 though, early on. Again, if I miss it 3 times, or if you're a new runner, I just recommend you go up and around anyway. Just figure out the pattern for how you're going to do it. So now usually at the end, after Act 2, there's a lot of waiting time in Candora. And I'll take the cursor and I'll move it down here to build some more roads. I kind of want to get it from building this road down here because it's already kind of annoying watching the guys run all the way out here to build, because that just takes up your time. But there's no real avoiding it, them going all the way out here, so because you have to seal those layers. And so usually what I'll do is I'll come down, build some extra stuff here, and just kind of get a bunch of extra roads going. Since usually I need to do quite a few construction cycles before I can move on to the Aidos. Because we're level 5 right now, and it's going to be a little while before we reach level 6. And this is usually where I start, doing stuff like tracing mountains and making fun of this guy. Yeah, we're level 5 now, so we still have to wait for the next level. Tracing these things, stuff like that. Just finding ways to kill time. I recommend it, Axel. It's this run. It's a low stress run, really. I mean, you're not worried about it dying. You just lose time if you end up dying. It's not like your run is over. When I said you don't worry about dying, is you don't worry about your run just like flat out being over because you didn't finish it, or it's not like Super Metroid, If you run out of lives when you're doing any of the acts, basically you just have to go back in and do the thing all over again. If you die midway through an act, you will spawn either at the beginning, or if you passed a certain checkpoint in the middle, you will spawn there instead. So we're getting close to level 6 now. I think the next population one going. Using extra miracles is always a waste of time, even during these parts. Yeah, because they have plenty of places to build houses. Again, anytime that you're using miracles is the time that the global clock is not ticking. And so you want to use as few miracles as you need to. Just basically to get the job done. Alright, so now we're going to move on. I don't care about Candora with the offerings that they had. But they'll have, basically the only thing they'll have for me is Strength of an Angel and a Bomb. So I don't care about any of that. So we're not going to waste time picking up the offerings there. We're just going to go straight on to Aidos, which is like half a second moving north. And we go in here and we fight monsters. So Aidos is this is where the run, platforming wise, starts to get difficult for newer players. There's a lot of things that can go wrong in these stages. So I'm going to again go through here, get a brief overview of what I do. I should slash jump over him. I can slash jump over him, get in here. This platform, and just provide the platform, kill the ravens. Move to the music, stuff like that. You'll have, I don't recommend getting off here at all. It's more of a hassle than it's worth. And you can generally avoid taking too much damage. You want to kind of get the left side of the platform here, so you can kill that guy without getting hit. And you can kill everything here without getting hit. I didn't hit that guy because I'm bad, so. You kind of, what I do here is I turn around and I jump backwards. That way if the boulder or the arm hits me, I just keep going up the mountain. Not like that, though. It's possible to make it across the volcano. It's a frame perfect trick. 2 frame perfect trick. 1 for the jump, 1 for the slash. So I don't even bother trying it. For reference, that item I picked up was a basically kill all the enemies on the screen item. And then that's it. That's basically the boss is up next. You want to make sure you get this weapon upgrade. It's very important for the next boss, which is pretty much bot wound. But we'll see. So again, to recap. Slash jump over him, jump over that. Slash jump over here, land on the platform. Kill the ravens, just kind of chill for a while you go over this part. Try to avoid any damage that's incoming, but at the same time, don't like fall off the platform. You don't want that. Yeah, I got hit by him. Kill these guys. You can kill all these guys as you're approaching them. It's not too hard. Pretty straightforward. As soon as that starts moving upward, I jump up. Jump backwards into these things. Except that last one, I seem to be jumping forwards. Alright, so this is going to be a little close. I'm going to save it there. I intentionally just take damage and move into this corner because once I hit this little corner here, I just slash and I kill both of the guys there. Back up there, there's the first stalactite, like a larger one on the ceiling that I use as my cue for jumping. You can slash jump to save a little bit of time here. You can slash jump here to make this jump. And here. And then you want to pick this up. Very important. Going into this boss, you need at least 2 health. Because you're going to get hit once. Otherwise, you have to start working on trying to find a way to not get hit. Which may be... Where do you end up if you manage to jump across the volcano? So there... I'm not going to be able to demonstrate this until Mirana Act 1, but the way that transitions, like screen transitions, work in this game is always see me walk through a door. The thing is, there are no... when you transition to the next room, it's not the door itself that is transitioning you. Anytime that you hit the right side of the screen... it transitions you to the next room. So, that being said, if I manage to jump across the volcano, I can just keep jumping across until I hit the right side of the screen, and it will transition me into the next room as though I went through the door all the way down. So that does save time if you can pull it off, but it's a really hard trick. And I'll be able to demonstrate that same concept in Mirana Act 1 as well. So this boss is fun. This boss is pretty much bot wound. You just learn his patterns. So I'm going to show you what I do. And dead. So again, to repeat that, what happens is I'm going to go down. I'm immediately jump on the next platform to my right. I'm going to wait for him to come right at me. As soon as he's in range of my swinging, I start to swing and I just unload on him. And he'll hit me, I'll take damage, I'll turn around and continue swinging at him. Then I'll do one of the jumps in the air. I'll be able to hit him with the air blade. Then after that's passed, I jump over the next platform to my right. He's going to come out right in front of me. He's not going to hit me, but he's going to be right in front of me. And as soon as you can hit him, you start swinging. And if you do all this right, you wait for him to make his dart from right to left. And if you swing at the right time, you can kill him. See, I missed one shot there. But we can kill him here. And just like that, he's dead. So you just gotta learn his patterns and learn a rhythm to kill him with. In professional mode, you don't get the air blade. So that makes that fight a lot more challenging. Alright, now we have Aidos. Act 1 is done. Now for the Aidos simulation. Simulation here is pretty simple. I'm still trying to build in 2 directions at once. That's still important. The first layer I'm going to be sealing is one of the new monsters, and I can't remember his name. I'll just look it up real quick to check because I can't remember it. But I'm still going to want to build in 2 directions at once. There's going to be a lot of lightning because I got to remove rocks and trees both. But since on the second construction phase I'll be sealing one of the layers, I'm not terribly worried about running around and killing monsters. So for the first cycle, I do want to kill at least 8 monsters so I can build in 2 directions at once. We can do that a couple of ways. We can actually use a bomb, since we should have 2 bombs by now. Yeah, we have 2 bombs by now. So we can use 1 bomb now. And we're going to use the other one in Mirana now. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to start using lightning. We can also use lightning since we have a lot of miracles to do. And we've got 12 miracles we can use since lightning only costs 10 SP. We can do 12 lightnings and we can just draw out the first phase as long as we can, killing as many monsters as we can. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to use this lightning. Start killing stuff. I'm going to build left, up, left. I'm going to make lightning here. And I'm going to use a bomb here. And we're going to continue this way. So I'm slacking on the lightning a lot. That is something you don't want to happen. Getting hit so that you can't kill monsters. But we built in 2 directions anyway, so that's fine. And then this thing happens every so often again. I don't know why. But it is what it is. Sealing the first layer. Alright. Then we'll come down here, we'll do lightning on that. And we should be able to seal this one unless it wants to... Okay, good. And we can start building upwards. Again, once you seal the first one, it's not a big deal. But you do want to try to keep building in 2 directions even as you're growing for the first layer. This guy's standing up here. He wants you to make it rain, but I never make it rain because it just causes more text. So we never do that. So there's a scroll in these mountains. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to build up here. And I'm going to build a road over here and then proceed to go seal this lair. And I'm going to make sure they build a road where this lair is. So that's basically the pattern that I've got there. This guy's going to cause trouble. And they have a lot to tell you in this zone. That's bad. Alright, now we're sealing this one. So you're gonna move up here. Once this builds out, move left 1 and then right 2. And we're gonna wait for this road to build. That's gonna start a process where they're gonna work on picking up another scroll in the mountains there, and we'll be able to pick it up before we leave. Probably the same time that they say they have fleece. It's another thing too, is before you leave this zone, you want to make sure you pick up the offerings from them. Fleece is another thing that you're required to pick up in this run to be able to move on with it. Because if you get to Northwall and you don't have fleece, then you have a problem. So you have to pay attention sometimes. This happened a little earlier than I was expecting it, but sometimes they'll complain about the wind not blowing, and so they need you to blow the wind so that their windmills blow. And so you just go ahead and do that and appease them. It's a miracle you don't have to do, but you don't want to do, but you have to. And then you move this all the way to the last layer. Yeah, my town leader died because I didn't water him. I'm a bad person. Or I guess I'm a bad god in this case. Gotta go fast, man. And then we continue building out. And now we're level 7. And that's pretty much Aidos. It's not very involved, but it does have its quirks. So now the volcano is erupting and we have to go address that. Aidos Act 2 is hard to do fast. There's a lot going on in Aidos Act 2, and it's pretty rough to begin with. I'm going to go through it, kind of highlighting what I'm doing again, and I'll go through it again after that. But it is easy to screw up and die and lose time here. Actually, no, that's not the strat I want. I forgot. I developed new strats for this and I've already forgotten what they are. See, that's not what I wanted. Alright, I took 1 extra damage there. See, I keep doing that. That's a problem. So anyway, I'll explain the first part of this. So I do a lot of backwards damage boosting. Or I'll just call it damage boosting. I do a lot of damage boosting so that it moves me forward. So right here, since I don't really have the space to do that, I just kind of run right through these guys. I kill this one. Since he's easy to kill, you can kill in 1 step. But I basically get to the edge of these things, immediately turn around, and then jump, then push backwards. It's the fastest way to get through here. It takes a little practice to be able to do that quickly, though. Because if you mess up, you're probably going to start having a bad time. Another alternative was to go forward, and this was the strat that I used to be doing, so I'll show it too. So instead of taking a lot of damage from those things, I would actually kill those things. I'd run through this anyway, kill this first guy. I take damage from this, kill that guy, take damage, probably take 2 damage there, and just continue on my way. That's the old strat I was doing. So this is a pretty, kind of a clutch room. If you don't execute this room properly, you're going to fall in the lava and you're going to die and you're going to lose a lot of time. So I'm going to save right before that room to demonstrate it. Alright, there we go. So I run into him. So I take that first platform, the second platform, run into this guy so I have invuln frame so I can pass right through him. Then this third platform, and you want to do a slash jump there so you can reach this one. You don't need to do slash jump, but it certainly gives you more room for error. And sometimes you just miss that jump up. Pretty much as soon as you come in a room, jump so you avoid the arrow that guy shoots at you. You can kind of backwards damage boost through these guys as well. You want to make sure going up here you have at least 2 health, because you're going to take damage here again. Right here, wait for the flames. Don't try to go earlier than the flames are letting out, except right there. And then you proceed on to the boss. Let me demonstrate that again. Jump as soon as you enter, or not as soon as you enter the room, but not long after. If you're trying to damage boost through these things, then you really have to be careful, otherwise you get tossed in the lava. And if you get in the lava, you can't get out. Hey, Smitman. Yeah, like that. So you kind of have to find what works best for you here. I'm just going to showing off what I do here. Previously, I just kill everything because it's much less of a headache. Although you can kind of damage boost through him anyway, because that guy's annoying. The cloud guys are like super annoying. The important part is having 2 health when you go up here. So I'll illustrate this next part. You're going to get hit by him, get down here, wait for that flame, jump. And then you're just going to collect the apple, go right, and just start going left. And this guy is super easy. Super easy. Really easy, dude. I'm not even going to go over that again. I feel like I don't even need to. As long as you pick up the apple and your health is like almost full, that guy's really easy. I took 6 damage the whole time. No, I took 4 damage for him the whole time I was in there. It's a very easy boss fight. And from here, we're waiting for 2 things after Act 2 now. We're waiting for them to tell them that they have the fleece and that they got the magic scroll from this mountain. Hey, LaFrozer. So that's the 2 things we're waiting for right now. As soon as we see both of those, we want to go take the offerings, and then we'll be ready to move on once we hit the next level. So they found the scroll, now they're finding the fleece. So they've got both of those. So we'll just take everything they have to offer now. It's a mixture, Ilm. Some Act 1 bosses are super easy, some Act 2 bosses are super hard. Alright. The population guide that I mentioned at the very beginning of this tutorial also has a list of what levels you get at what population. And so that's also worth knowing too, so you can know, hey, I should be at the level I want on the next construction cycle. I don't build any extra roads here because I don't think it's worth it. I still have a lot of places to build. And even if this place does get phantom growth, it's probably only going to happen once at this point. Because I'm going to go through Mirana in about 6, maybe 7 cycles. Yeah. Don't forget the Arctic Wyvern too. The Arctic Wyvern, if you don't have any sort of Stardust scrolls, is actually really hard. All right, so now we're gonna move on. All right. So now we move on to Act 1. Again, I'll play through this and then I'll come back and explain a lot of things I did, and show you what I'm doing. Let's save here. Gonna slash jump over him, slash jump over him. I moved too slow apparently because I should not get hit by those guys. Alright, duck here and duck here. So remember that right side of the screen transition I was talking about? We're gonna do another wall glitch here that basically lets us get on top of the level and we hit the right side of the screen. And we mostly move on from there, which is really nice to do. Jump early, wait for the snakes, slash jump here. And that is Act 1 before the boss anyway. So I'll repeat all that. Jump on this rock, then jump here, slash jump over this guy so I kill the bird, slash jump over him. I'm still getting hit by those guys too early. If you do it correctly, you can just barely avoid them. Like that, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. And tedious jumping upstairs. Sometimes you get hit by him, it's a little hard to avoid him. You just duck under these guys when they jump over you. So if you want, you can do this wall jump glitch or try to do it. But if you're new and you don't really understand how this the wall glitch works, or if you're just tired of frustrating of not getting it, there we go. You just go down here and just continue on, kind of run through these guys. He'll make a little bit of sport of you, but whatever. You can just continue on that way. Duck here, jump, slash jump, so you kill that snake that falls. Jump up here, jump right after that guy, duck here, wait, jump. And slash jump there, so you just barely clear that second guy. So again, I need to jump, okay. So again, if you're going down this way, I'll actually just transition to the next room. Oh my gosh. It's impossible. There we go. Alright. Alright, duck. Slash. Get over him. Jump right after him. Duck when you land. Wait for the snake. Slash jump over here so you clear him. Just run through everything. Should only get hit twice. And we're going to work on this guy. Now there is a way to kill him is getting the wall glitch over here. Yes, you can do that. It's a little hard to do it though. Otherwise, you just have to learn how to avoid the tentacle or whatever it is. Honestly, I'm not sure what this thing is that's trying to kill me. With practice, you can learn how to avoid it. It is difficult though. And then you get, dunked like that, and it's no fun. Slash jump does give you extra distance, yes. There we go. This is what it looks like if you get the wall glitch. Makes this boss really easy. The tentacle can't even reach you, and you can just run to the top of the level when it ends. So let's try this again. I'm going to try to kill this guy without having to worry about the tentacle. Unfortunately, because of the way Game Saver works, I don't have any sound now. But you just kind of, if you can't do the wall glitch, then you have to learn how to avoid the tentacle. Because you don't have the best health at this point in the game. So you kind of have to put a little bit of practice into learning this. And that's basically how the boss works. If you just kind of follow that pattern. Alright, now for Mirana simulation. Now the thing about the slash jump, to reiterate on that, is you hit the slash just before the peak of your jump. And you can really notice it whenever you do pull it off. You do get that little bit of extra oomph to it. So here, when we go into Mirana, we're going to doing a number of things. This is actually kind of a pretty involved one, because there's a one point in here where we're trying to build 3 directions at once, and it's not as bad as you think, because on the second turn we're going to be able to seal the red devil layer that's up here. Oh, not sorry, the blue dragon layer that's up here. So it's not going to be a big of a problem building in 3 directions at once. For the first cycle, we're only going to build in 2 directions at once, though. For this process, what we're going to do is the very first thing we're going to do is cast an earthquake miracle, because that's going to join the island up here that we can't see with the main island down here that we're on right now. That's a requirement. You have to do that at some point in this zone to be able to seal all the layers. So you need to do that the very first thing, so you don't destroy your houses later on. And after you cast the earthquake, you can go around, kill some mobs. I recommend using a bomb. You're trying to basically kill as many monsters as you can early on, so you can build in 2 directions at once. And it's a challenge sometimes, so we're going to give it a whirl here. So I'm going to do the earthquake. And I'm going to... Yeah, see, it's pretty hard. We managed to do it in 2 directions, so. This is another zone where you want to use your wheat. So as soon as the first cornfield pops up, you want to use the wheat there. Alright, and then we want to move to seal this layer. Then we're going to move back down. Not just this moment, because I need to use lightning on these 2. But we don't have to worry about killing monsters so much now that we sealed 1 layer. We've got all the SP in the world. So now we're going to move down here. Move down there, though, so we can continue building in this direction and this direction. So this is the point where we're building 3 directions at once. And we are successful. And I want to sun this too, and then we'll seal the layer. I don't listen to anything they have to say here, because nothing is relevant for what they have to say. Alright, now we're going to seal this, which is good, because these guys are going to be trouble anyway. Coming back, after this layer is sealed, I'm going to build a road over here, and then I'm going to go back up towards this Red Devil's lair. So go down here, build that road, get as far as we can. We're going to sun this right here. lightning this. I want to sun this. And that's all the miracles we need to do. So after this construction cycle, I'm actually going to go back down. And continue building in that direction as well. So we'll still be building in two directions at once. And on this construction cycle after this, we'll seal both of these layers. First the Bat Napper, and then the Red Devil. What's my take on ActRaiser 2? I've actually never legitimately got the chance to play it, so I couldn't give a fair opinion. Alright, so sealing this layer. Then we'll go back up here and seal this one. I've tried to play it before. Like, I remember as a kid trying to rent it, and for some reason, it wouldn't play for me. I don't know why. Alright, so coming back up here to seal this layer. Just have to follow the arrow around. And not activate the menu. And then that's good. And then that's all 4 layers sealed. So we can move on to Act 2. Alright. And we go fight monsters. So this stage is special. You're in this weird old temple thing. It's not too hard, the level itself, once you get used to it. I'm going to intentionally take damage here. And then jump. And jump again. Ideally, I want the one guy, the blue guy, flying guy, to be high. So I don't have to worry about jumping to dodge him as well. You can just stick on the right side of this elevator and nothing will ever hit you. I just kind of run through these guys. I just don't care enough. If you do this correctly, you can land right on that platform, then get knocked off. The right side, so in this level you have 2 choices. You can go right or left. The right side is a little faster, assuming you do everything correctly. It's a little tricky. I'll describe that in detail later. I'm also getting wrecked. I can take one more hit, which that was not good. So let's work on it actually in detail now. So I made that one guy fly high by jumping earlier back there, so I didn't have to worry about dodging him on the second set of monsters. Again, you stay to the right side of the elevator. It's really easy. You can't get hit by anything except the blue flying guys. I just run through these guys. You can kill them if you want. It's preference at that point. The right side is a little faster if you execute properly. Jump over him. You want to walk the full length of that platform up there. So let me do that again. This is pretty easy to do, actually. Once you get moving, as long as you don't like hit something, then I will walk through this guy, jump over this guy, walk here, walk the full length of that platform. If you don't, you will not make it to that one. And I think the slash jump is required for that part. Just walk through him because you don't care. Fall down here, and then you're in the boss. So I'll repeat that one more time. Just do the cycle here. Really easy to do. Walk through him, jump over him, jump up here, walk the full length of that platform, slash jump over him, jump here. Gotta work on getting that guy in position. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. It's not too hard of a dungeon. Now we get to play with this guy. You have a couple choices here. You can get about 6 hits in. You can just keep doing this over and over. If he starts to do this mess, you can just Stardust him. Stardust, though, is very RNG. He can give you good hits. Or he can give you bad hits, like he just gave me a lot of bad hits. So you can basically, if he... For this boss, you kind of want to stand right to his left side, facing right. If you do that correctly, he'll usually come down. It's RNG whether or not he's going to fire these things. I don't know what else to do about that. Pretty sure it's not my positioning. Otherwise, if you don't have magic, you can just keep doing this over and over. You can get about 6. If you're really good, you can get 7 hits per cycle. But if you get 6 hits, then you can 4-round him. See, that was garbage. Now he's doing it again. And that's one of the things about Stardust in this game, because it's a spell that's so RNG based. It can give you great RNG, or it can just absolutely, you know, do nothing for you. So that's how this boss works. I can't remember his name right now. And that's Mirana Act 2. So now we gotta wait, and for our population, I think to hit 1850 or 1900. I can't remember which right now. Once it does, we'll hit the next level 10. We'll be able to go to North Wall. So at this point, it's just a waiting game, waiting for everything to build out. The jump slash. So yeah, it's a certain point in the jump that you have to slash. It's right before the peak of your jump. If you slash then, it will extend the range at which you jump. And for a number of things that I do in this run, it's a requirement. But it certainly makes a lot of other jumps a lot easier to do. If you slash at a certain part, it's a certain part of the jump. You gotta learn to get a feel for it, practicing it yourself. Again, to pass time, we just do the same old things. We trace this familiar shape. Follow people around as they go build their places. Stuff like that. Whatever you need to do to pass the time. Come up with your own little things. Alright, so now we're moving on to North Wall. Now, when you get to North Wall, you don't care about your population at all anymore. You don't care what happens with your population. Your goal getting into North Wall now, in the simulation mode, is you seal all 4 layers as fast as possible, no matter what it takes. So now, because now, once you seal all 4 layers of North Wall, you can go to Act 2, and then you can hit the boss rush. So let's go over Act 1 for North Wall, though, before we do that. Remember, you need the fleece from Aidos. If you don't have the fleece from Aidos, you're going to have a problem here. So I kind of jump down the slope there, jump up the slopes, just take damage from him. Kill this bird up here. Jump here, jump, kill this bird. Run down here. You can walk right through this guy without any sort of damage boost. There's a lot of places in here like this. And if you do that really well, you can get that done in 176 on the timer. Again, you can walk right through these guys too. Don't jump too soon like that. Dang it. Might be a little off now. That's fine. Do I cancel? No, I'm not doing anything to cancel my attacks. Alright, then you just walk through him. It's your preference if you want to walk through the guys or if you actually want to kill them. does save a little bit of time just to go through them though. Also, how you get on this platform is completely up to you as well. You can wait on that one little platform over there, and it will just pick you up automatically. Also, this place introduces you to the eye RNG. It's absolutely awful. You'll have eyes spawn right in front of where you're jumping, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's a pretty nice part of the run. I usually kill this guy, and this guy here. Oh my gosh. There's an apple to the right if you want to refill off that. But since for this boss, I don't really need any health. Since you shouldn't ever get hit by this boss's attacks if you're doing things correctly. Also, that's amazing RNG from Stardust. RNG. Eyeball RNG. So I'm going to go through here again. I usually jump on the downslopes to get some good jump speed going. Although I think I jumped like too late there. Definitely jump on the upslopes because they slow you down. Jump over the statue, kill this bird. You're going to jump all the way down here, kill this bird. And you can walk right through here. As soon as you walk through this guy, you want to jump up the slope. Stardust is not the only spell, but it is by far the best and the worst. You just walk through all those guys, come over here. As soon as the second icicle falls, just jump to the next platform. That room's pretty straightforward. And like I said, you can wait here, and the platform will pick you up. You're pretty much at the mercy of where the eyeballs spawn, though. Like right that. There's nothing you can do about that. You can't avoid that damage, so you might as well just take it. Like this garbage right here. You know, you lose a little bit of time just from them spawning. I don't know why I'm jumping there. Alright, and so for this, in order to hit him when you jump, you have to be at least on the slope or the upper blocks. If you try to do it from the bottom, you're gonna be out of range. Like that right there. I was out of range there. There we go. And that's usually how you kill that guy, the merman. I only get Stardust. I don't even get Fireball. There's no reason to get Fireball. The amount of menuing and text it takes to get Fireball just kind of negates the time you would save from using it in the first couple. At least I didn't. I mean, maybe somebody proved me wrong and say that, hey, if getting Fireball is faster, then by all means, go for it. That's something that I haven't looked that deeply into because maybe it would save time on the mana core and other things, but I don't know. Alright. North wall. All you care about is sealing these layers. We're going to build in 2 directions at once to start. You can't cross the river until you seal both the layers at the top here. So we're going to work on that, and we're going to use Strength of an Angel to make our lives a little easier. And we're going to make all the snow melt. All the snow melt. This is why your polar ice caps are melting, because of what I'm about to do here. So I'm going to save this. And we'll start using the sun. We'll use... they don't have any offerings. I went to the wrong menu. Use Strength of an Angel, and use the Fleece. Might as well use it now while you're busy menuing. Little sun here. And we'll move here, then move up. As long as they build one house down there before we have to cross the river. Also, I think I just screwed up that sun. No, I didn't. It's fine. Again, this is one of those places that I just kind of spend time doing all the sun and killing monsters in between each one. We can't do the last one. Don't have enough experience points for it. There we go. Now we got it. So that's all the sun right there. The warming was global as well. So again, this is a cornfield. You'd be tempted to get out of here. You'd be tempted just to make sure you bring wheat. I don't care about the population. As long as I'm building out, it doesn't matter if it's a cornfield or a house. As long as I get to the layers at this point, that's all I care about. Alright, and get over here so we can move to the other layer. Wait for them to tell me they can build bridges. And we'll wait a little bit and then go down and seal this one. If you do this fast enough, the road that aims down never actually builds. And this is basically it for Northwall. Northwall is really chill, no pun intended. It might be a little intended, but Northwall is really chill. It's not a hard zone at all. Your focus is pretty simple. You don't care about it's nice that you don't have to care about your population at all. Again, when you start off, use your Strength of an Angel, use your Fleece, and start putting the sun everywhere. You want to sun those two tiles so you can start building here, and then you move over here, move up, and then start going left and right to seal those layers. And then this is the last layer. From here on, it's all the platforming. The simulation is done. So we go to Act 2 of Northwall. So Act 2 of Northwall is going to be a challenge for a lot of new players until you learn how to navigate through a lot of stuff in it. Act 2 can be very challenging. And if this eye spawns right in front of... Dang nabbit. Stupid eye RNG, man. So I'm going to jump up the right side here. Just run through this guy. Hopefully not get hit twice, but I got hit twice. The eyeball RNG is real. A lot of things you can just run through people. It's pretty nice. Although I'm taking a lot of damage right now, a lot more than I usually do. Concerning damage, as long as you get to the top here before you die, then you're fine. You can die up here. In fact, I think I'm going to opt to die right up here. An intentional death. Intentional deaths in this game sometimes are a thing just for the sake of refilling your health. And just ride the one green bubble that's on the left side, and then ride the center one. The two center ones all the way to the top. And as long as you touch the top of the screen, you'll go to the boss. And you really want this guy to swoop first. Although that was a terrible round of RNG. This is effectively Dragon. That was also terrible RNG. So... Alright. And that's it. Not going for the wall jump here? Is there one? I didn't even know there was one. Honestly. So let's go through this again. Just climb the side of the tree. I usually take the left side up mostly there. Oh, okay, we'll take that. That's fine. Where is it? Oh, you know what? I think I remember seeing that now, but I never really learned it. So I guess it's not going to be the tutorial, because I don't know. It's before you go to the right side of the tree. Well, let's look. I guess let's look at it real quick. That's the same thing every time. See, that's pretty decent. That's okay RNG. That's not the best. Certainly better than the last time I got it, though. That's also crap RNG. But that worked out better. So let's go look for this wall jump. Before you go right. It's like over here. Is this what you're... Like this? Ah. No, that's not the one. Where is it, though? I mean, it worked out. I don't know exactly where you're talking about. I have to go look it up. But, climb a little bit more up when you see the yellow axe. Oh, okay. I don't know. I feel like this would be... Let's see what you're talking about. Climb a little more up. Maybe if I actually climb the right side of the tree, then like over here. So you're talking about like right here? Is this where you're talking about? I'm trying to get hit by this. I don't think I can. Yeah, I don't think I get hit by that. I was trying to see if I could do it again, but I guess not. I actually think if you do it over here... It's a little hard to get in there, though. You can like turn around on a dime there. Oh, I had it. There we go. Oh, I got knocked out by the bird. Dude, the eyeballs. Alright. Let's just finish this. Dude, the eyeball, I'm getting wrecked. It's faster just to run through these guys, I swear. It actually seems pretty nice to do that. Because the axe he throws is... The timing's pretty easy to do that. Dude, stop throwing your crap at me. I don't want your crap on me. Alright. Let's go up here. Alright, then with this much health, we can kind of... We want to stand like on the left edge of the bubble, because that way the bird doesn't come all the way out. But with this much health, we should be okay. Going to the Wyvern with this. Assuming you don't get hit too much, and assuming Stardust just doesn't completely screw you over. See, that's a good Stardust RNG right there. Alright. So that's Act 2. The Wyvern is... You have to learn how to work around the Wyvern and deal more damage to him than he's doing to you if you don't have magic. Stardust really is ideal, though. You want a couple good Stardust rounds on him. You have the option of picking up a third scroll. If you wait long enough in North Wall, there will be a third scroll presented to you, and you can pick it up before you go to Act 2. That'll make the Wyvern a little better. But apart from that, you just need to work at him. So now is the boss rush of the game, going through Deathheim, where you have to beat all the Act 2 bosses again. And all the bosses are now faster. And have... They're just faster in general. They don't really have many different quirks otherwise. So this is just basically a boss review at this point, and I'll show you the strats I do. There is an intentional death. I tried to intentionally die at Arctic Wyvern for this. So for the Minotaur, I usually just, that's pretty straightforward. The same strat as always. It's not really any different. Damage you take, 5 damage, it's okay. If you can get away with 4 though, that's even better. I'm just not even gonna... Again, this is the same idea, he just moves a little faster. So, I messed that up a lot. I could have killed him. You can still kill him before he transforms. But it's still, you have to pay attention. Again, reminder that if you kill him, if you leave him at half health and kill the rest of the lower half of his health in one cycle, he will not transform. Same strategy for this, but don't use your magic here. Just do this, keep spamming it. You can even jump to avoid the arrow that the thing on the wall shoots, if you want to save a little bit of life. That's the Pharaoh. This guy, I opt for a safe pattern where I don't take any damage from him. It's pretty simple. You just gotta learn with it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and he's dead. Don't take any damage from him that way. This guy, don't use your magic on him. If you do it properly, you can get 3 hits in without taking damage. Also, don't do that. That's wasting time. If you have health to spare, you can get 4 hits in. And this is RNG. There's really nothing you can do about this. Alright, one more time. And he's dead. And now I'm going to intentional death into the Wyvern. We're going to use the magic on the Wyvern. And hope we get good magic. Otherwise, we'll have to fight him manually. That's a good one. That's okay. He's dead. So, I didn't even take the intentional death. I should have. I guess I could have easily died there. So you want to remember to take the intentional death and then do the magic. So I kind of got lucky there. So I guess I could theoretically not die here. I guess I might as well go for it. Why not? Yeah, he was so close. But whatever. So for the last fight, the 2-phase fight, this Candora fight is really easy just by itself. You spam the guys at the head, he just makes it rain fireballs. When he comes down, you just wail on him. You can kill him in 2 rounds easily. You can kill him even before he fires the fireballs in the 2nd round. This one you want to stand right about here. As these fireballs converge right now, is when you want to start unleashing. If you time your shots correctly, you can actually destroy these weird things that are coming out of Candora's mouth. Like right here. Yeah, I still not timing it correctly. You basically have to learn how to time stuff so you can kill. If you can kill the weird squiggly fireballs before, like, if you time your shot correctly, you can kill both fireballs as they're coming out of his mouth. Otherwise, the one gets away. And so that's basically the boss shots, and that's the game. So I hope this has been pretty informative. Again, a lot of the Act 2 bosses, when we go through, we're using a lot of the same strats. They're just kind of sped up. The biggest strat was the wheel guy. I can't remember his name right now. I'm just doing this specific pattern. You can go back and look at that and see the patterns that I did. It's pretty straightforward. It's easy to do. So, if you guys have any questions right now, we can go ahead and see what we have out there. If anyone's confused with something or so forth. Again, the platforming part of this game is easy to optimize, but keep in mind the platforming part of your run is probably only going to be roughly 1/3 of the total time that you spend doing a run. The simulation part, it takes a lot of time, and it's still not optimized. The simulation part is a very difficult part of this run to optimize, and still there's a lot of different solutions to a lot of different things, and there's still plenty of work to be thrown into it. trying to optimize what's the fastest way you do the simulation. What directions do you build? Do you build more directions at once, or do you go straight towards this layer? You know, do you opt to go towards the other layer that gives you civilization upgrade first? Stuff like this is things that you really need to figure out how to optimize better. So it's really hard to kind of pinpoint, hey, this is the best way to do this. There's no clear answer to that, and this always needs a lot of help in trying to figure out how to optimize. So if you're looking at running this game, then, you know, you reach out to me. I'm available on Twitter. There is, let me see if I'm still even in it. There is an ActRaiser channel on SRL IRC. Me and Dunnius are the only people who are in that channel, but feel free to stop in. I mean, you can Nick Flash me all day if you want, and just trying to flag me down. So I'm available on SRL IRC. I'm available on Twitter if you have questions for me. I'd love to see more people running this game even. So, Dunnius, by the way, is one of the people. Dunnius and Zenimax, I think the other name is, are the people who made the task for this game. If you're interested in watching the task, you can also learn a lot of things from it as well. A lot of the tricks that I learned from this game were from the task and the task page that has a lot of the things listed out. So a lot of the credit that learning for things from this game goes to the taskers, and it's been very helpful. And the skill gap between tasks and human abilities isn't as wide in this game as it is in other games. If you take like Super Metroid, for example, or Super Mario 64, for example, if you compare like the world record run in either of those games versus like a task run, then it's typically, you know, the gap in how fast they do it and just the skill level is immense and ridiculous even. But in ActRaiser, that's not really the case. Most of the tasking, like, mentality or, you know, showcasing, I guess, for lack of a better word, that you see in ActRaiser happens in simulation, and it's usually more during the off time when you're goofing off, just waiting for time to pass. So, but that is it for the tutorial, though. But if nobody has questions, I'm going to close it out. Hope to see you guys running the tutorial, and have a great night, everybody. Thanks for everyone for watching.